Welcome back to Only Talk Sports, and today we have the second round, Game 7 in the Eastern Conference between the Boston Celtics and the Philadelphia 76ers in the 2023 NBA playoffs. This is the game that everybody has been waiting for, the final game of the second round, because after this, we'll be going on to the conference finals. Either Boston or Philadelphia will be moving on to face the Miami Heat of all teams in the Eastern Conference Finals. In the West, you already have the Denver Nuggets and the Los Angeles Lakers. That is who you will see in the Western Conference Finals. But in the Eastern Conference Finals, you could either have Boston or Philly against Miami. It's going to be a lot of fun. We should have a dandy on our hands right here Sunday afternoon. Happy Mother's Day as well to all the mothers out there. We really appreciate you guys so much. But this is a big game, and we have a treat on our hands. Looking forward to Boston and Philadelphia. Now, Philadelphia, they went on the road and won at the Boston Celtics in Game 5. Will the Boston Celtics drop another home game and lose the series? A lot of people have pressure on Doc Rivers as well on not being able to have a lot of success advancing in playoffs in the past. The last Eastern Finals appearance for the 76ers in 2001. So they really want to make it. Boston obviously has been to the conference finals several times since 2001. Philadelphia has not, but this should be a great game. I'm looking forward. A lot of coaches have been fired. You saw Mike Budenholzer for the Bucks, Nick Nurse with the Raptors, and Monty Williams just got fired with the Suns. So if you don't win, you're getting fired really quickly in the NBA these days. So Doc Rivers, a lot of pressure here to get this win on the road at Boston. But TD Garden, it's going to be rocking and rolling. It's going to be really loud. Their fans are some of the best fans in the NBA. And the Boston Celtics could have the most deep team in the NBA. Have a fantastic team, but will they be able to handle the pressure of this big game and get this win? We'll have to see. They have a lot of experience and a lot of depth, but Philadelphia is standing in their way, and they have a really good team in their own right. So we're going to have to see Game 7, second round, the final game of the second round team, the Philadelphia 76ers and the Boston Celtics. It's about to tip off. The referee is in the middle of the court. It's tipping up between Joel Embiid and Robert Williams, who's just now been inserted to the starting lineup again. And the Boston Celtics have won the tip. Marcus Smart hands it over to Jason Tatum. Tatum, he was big in the fourth quarter at Philadelphia. He had 4 or 5 threes in the fourth quarter, was able to help Boston get a victory there. Jaylen Brown, he misses a 3 for Boston. So the first shot of the game is no good, and Jaylen Brown could not connect right there. Now you've got Philadelphia. They have the basketball. James Harden had 45 points in Game 1 in this series. That was huge to help Philadelphia's chances. Tyrese Maxey has the ball now. He's been huge in several games. And obviously Joel Embiid, the league MVP for the first time in his career. Well-deserved for him. He led the league in scoring. He's had a fantastic season. Beat out Giannis and Jokic for the award. Embiid over to James Harden for 3, and Harden shots off the mark. PJ Tucker, though, fighting Marcus Smart for the board. He cannot get it, but James Harden finally playing defense. He gets a steal, and he dunks it home. What a play by James Harden, and Philly has the lead 2-0. Now Jaylen Brown to Robert Williams on the other end, back outside to Jason Tatum at the top of the key, to Robert Williams down low. Williams for 2. He can't make the shot, and Jaylen Brown, he saves it from going back to Philly, and Jaylen Brown in the lane and lays it in. What a play by Jaylen Brown, and we're tied 2-2, 10:45 to go in the first quarter. What a play by Jaylen Brown. James Harden and Jaylen Brown have both a very similar plays to start, both great steals to be able to get the ball back. James Harden, he's got the ball at the top of the key. Marcus Smart's on James Harden. Now Joel Embiid on Al Horford. Al Horford has had a long NBA career, a great player, really solid re-addition for Boston, and he makes Embiid miss. Now you've got Tatum bringing the ball up the floor again, still a 2-2 ball game. Tatum in the lane, driving on Tucker. He almost loses the ball, but he kicks it to Marcus Smart. Back to Tatum, over to Al Horford for 3. He's not able to hit the shot. Tyrese Maxey, he's got the rebound right there. Tyrese Maxey is definitely one of the quickest players in the NBA. Embiid outside to Tobias Harris. His shot is short, and Al Horford, he has the rebound. Up the floor, Jaylen Brown, he's still wearing the mask. He's been the mask marauder, having a lot of success with it. Down the floor, he's got the ball at the top of the key. He's driving into the lane again with a floater, and Jaylen Brown is the first 4 points for Boston. 4-2, Philly is now with their first deficit of the game. 9:40 to go in the first quarter. Boston's 2 of 5 from the field. Philadelphia is 1 of 4. James Harden, top of the key, off the dribble, kicks to PJ Tucker in the corner, and that was a horrible shot. Hit the backboard and was way off. He's definitely improved at shooting threes throughout his career, but he was not able to hit that shot. Now Tatum in the lane for a slam dunk, and the crowd is on their feet. 9:20 to go in the first quarter. TD Garden is erupting. What a play by Jason Tatum. First quarter field goal made for him since game 3. That is insane right there, especially how talented he has been throughout his career and has been for the Celtics this season. For him to finally hit a field goal in the first quarter is crazy. Philadelphia on the other end, they miss again. Now Jaylen Brown back up the floor, under 9 to go in the first quarter. He's driving into the lane, guarded by Harden and Embiid, got double teamed, had to kick it back out. Now Tatum, he's at the top of the key near the Boston logo, being guarded by Tucker. Down to Horford, to Robert Williams, playing buddy ball, and what a slam dunk for Robert Williams. He's looking more healthier than ever. 8-2. What a dunk for Robert Williams. What an unselfish pass by Al Horford. He could have laid it himself, but he did not. Now Harden in the lane. Kicks to Maxey in the corner, and Maxey knocks down the 3. What a shot by Maxey. He was wide open. Boston finally left the guy wide open on the defensive end, and they were able to get the 3 to fall for Philadelphia. What a shot by Tyrese Maxey. 8-5. 8:20 to go in the first quarter. Jason Tatum, top of the key, going off the dribble in the lane. His shot is off the mark, and now James Harden, he's got the ball up the floor to Tobias Harris for the slam dunk. 8-7, and that quiets the TD Garden crowd. What a dunk by Tobias Harris right there. That was a fantastic dunk. 8-7, and the game is starting to get tight again. Boston had a 6-point lead, but Philadelphia with a quick response with a little 5-0 run. Now Jaylen Brown in the middle of the lane over Embiid. His shot was in and out. Robert Williams almost got the board, but he did not end up with the ball. Now you've got Tyrese Maxey to James Harden. Try to get it to Embiid. One too many passes. Turnover. Marcus Smart, one of the best defenders in the NBA year in and year out. He has the steal. Now it's back over to Jason Tatum. Tatum finally hitting a first quarter field goal. See if he can shake Maxey. He cannot. Gets it to Robert Williams. Into the lane. Kicks back outside to Marcus Smart. He tried to save it and out of bounds. Turnover Boston. Like the idea there, trying to pass the ball around the world, get to an open guy, but sometimes you can't overpass, and overpassing can lead to turnovers, and that is what happened right there. Still Boston with a 1-point lead. It's 8-7. Boston has 2 turnovers. Philadelphia has 1. Tyrese Maxey in the lane. Kicks to PJ Tucker again. And PJ Tucker drains the 3 this time. 10-8. His other 3 that he's already shot in this game was not pretty, but that one looked good. And the 76ers are on an 8-0 run in the last minute and 45 seconds. Tatum driving in the lane. He loses the ball, and they call a foul on Tyrese Maxey. 6:59 to go in the first quarter. Maxey does not like the foul call there, but he got a foul call nonetheless. You can make an argument that it wasn't a foul, but still it is what it is. That was a fantastic no-look pass from Tyrese Maxey to PJ Tucker. When you got a guy like PJ Tucker, who's a great defender, and then he can step out and shoot the 3 at his height, that is always a great player. You love those 3-and-D type players in the NBA, and Tucker is a guy that has improved at shooting 3s throughout his career. Even look at Al Horford. He could not shoot 3s at all at Florida, and then when he was in the NBA for the first 6-7 years, he was not a great 3-point shooter, but he improved at it. That's why a lot of guys that can't shoot the 3, sometimes you just need that developed, and they get better and better as it the longer that they are in the NBA, instead of them having to already know how to do it when they get in the league. Sometimes it takes that time to develop. But it is 10-8. Philadelphia is on an 8-0 run. Boston was leading 8-2, but they've kind of fallen apart a little bit, but it's so early, only down by 2, not too bad, but they're going to have to find a way to tighten up on the defense because you do not want to give Philadelphia confidence. Boston's at home, and how you're able to win big games like this in a Game 7 to try to be able to advance to the Eastern Conference Finals, you've got to have your crowd engaged because the crowd is your friend, and they're going to do everything they possibly can to help get you over the top if you allow them to, and allowing the crowd to be engaged is by being up in the game, by being ahead. You see like Denver when they were able to get ahead of the Phoenix Suns, and they were up by 15, 20 points in that game. Denver's crowd was engaged, and it just gave Phoenix no chance. That's what Boston's going to have to do. But Philadelphia, they don't have the injuries that Phoenix had in that game series, so maybe Philadelphia will be able to hang. They're up by 2 right now. We'll have to see what happens, but it should be a lot of fun. Looking forward to the rest of this game. Jackson Johnson, thanks for being here. Says congratulations on getting to 900 subs. You're now 93 subs away from 1,000. I really appreciate that, Jackson, and I really appreciate all you guys, everyone that has watched so much. Thank you so much for having me past 900 subs. I really appreciate you guys a lot, and I really appreciate you, Jackson. Thank you so much. Everyone like the stream down below. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. But more importantly, I appreciate you guys for being here. You guys are the best. Jeff says, I'm here and ready to roll. Great job on the subs. You're almost there. I really appreciate you as well, Jeff, so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate all you guys. You guys are awesome. But I'm glad you are here as well. We should have a great game. Jeff says, how goes it, man? To Jackson. Jackson says, doing pretty good, man. How's it going with you? I'm sure you guys are both doing great. You can't beat it. You've got Mother's Day, getting to celebrate all the moms in the world. You can't get much better than that. And then you've got a great game to boot with the Philadelphia 76ers and the Boston Celtics. And the game's delivered so far. It's been kind of back and forth. Some bad defensive possessions by the Celtics and Philly at a couple of times in this game. Some bad offensive sets, but you've also had some good sets. It's going to be interesting to see which team can go on that big run. Whichever team does could be the team that wins this game. If Philadelphia can get ahead, keep Boston's crowd out of it, then maybe they can win. But if Boston, and they can just find a way to get the crowd engaged, gain confidence, and then they can believe that they're going to be able to win this game if they can just start to blow it open. We'll have to see, but it's going to be interesting for sure. Scotty, thanks for being here, says, let's go Celtics. It's going to be crazy. I really appreciate you for being here as well. Definitely can tell you're a Celtics fan. A lot of people probably wanting Boston to win. Some people wanting Philly to win. It's going to be very interesting for sure. Philly, they have not been in the Eastern Conference Finals since 2001, so that would make a lot of Philly fans happy. But for Boston, they have a really good team that's capable of winning it all. You don't want to squander any years that you could possibly have with Tatum and Brown. And potentially their long careers they could have with Boston. It's going to be very interesting. They have a great chance to win it all this season, but they have to win this game if they want to stay alive in the playoffs. But Boston, they started on an 8-2 run, but Philly's been on an 8-0 run since. But Jason Tatum, he's at the line for Maxi's foul on that drive, and his first free throw is up and good. It's 10-9. With one more free throw, Tatum could tie the game up at 10-all. Tatum's a great free throw shooter as well. He's one of those guys that for sure you want at the line at his height because he is a really good free throw shooter, kind of like Kevin Durant in the fact that he's really tall, but he's able to knock down free throws. That's always a great sign to have with a player when they're tall and they can still shoot free throws because it makes it really tough to stop him. Tatum has 4 points and 3 rebounds. He's 1 and 2 from the field to start. Tucker to Maxey over to Harden in a tie game, 10-10. Harden in the lane. Kicks to Tucker again, left wide open, and Tucker makes them pay. Boston left Tucker open in the corner, and he knocks down another one, 13-10. You got to guard him a little bit tighter than that. Tatum down the floor being guarded by Embiid. Tatum's trying to go off the dribble, but great defense from Tucker and Embiid, both coming over to rotate. Now Jaylen Brown trying to make a move on Tobias Harris with the spin move and the step back, and Jaylen Brown, he misses the mid-range shot. Good defense from Philly. They're very aggressive to start. Now Maxey at the top. He thought about taking the jump shot, but decides otherwise. Now James Harden going off the Joel Embiid screen. Harden with a nice kick out to Tucker. Tucker does not take the shot. Now Embiid sizing up Horford. Back to Harden. Back to Tucker. And Tucker for 2. Nice pass by James Harden. And Tucker is the benefactor of it. He lays it in. 15-10. Philly back up by 5. Marcus Smart kicks to Tatum. Tatum off the dribble. Tatum in the lane with a floater, and his shot does not drop, but Robert Williams is there, and he kicks it back out to Marcus Smart, over to Al Horford, down to Tatum with Tobias Harris on him on the right wing. Tatum trying to go up strong with a tough step back too, and he knocks it down. How did Tatum hit that shot? Over Tobias Harris, a similarly sized player, and he was able to get that floater to fall. That was a fantastic shot right there by Jason Tatum, just showing the skill that he has. James Harden back to Tucker, to Maxey for 3, and Maxey's shot's no good, and Robert Williams with the easy rebound right there. Jaylen Brown to Tatum. Tatum just hit a big step-back jumper. That was a fantastic shot. Tatum sizing up a 3, decides to go off the dribble with Tobias Harris on him, and Tobias Harris, he fouls. It looks like he might have banged knees. Hopefully, Tobias Harris is okay. He's a very important player for the Philadelphia 76ers. You definitely do not want him injured and out of the game, but we'll have to see if he is okay. But he is still on the ground. 5:03 to go in the first quarter. Philadelphia 15, Boston 12. Let's see what happened. Tatum was going off the dribble. It just kind of looked like maybe Tobias Harris just might have turned wrong a little bit. Maybe he turned wrong. Maybe he just banged his knee a little bit, but hopefully he will be okay. But he hopefully will be able to get back up. That was a good drive by Tatum. You got to be aggressive, especially when your shots are not falling. And not to say that Boston's shots are not falling early, but it's not like they're doing a great job shooting the basketball right now. Sometimes just go off the dribble, take what you can get to the foul. And Tatum is definitely being aggressive, but hopefully Tobias Harris will be okay and will be able to remain in the game. Jackson Johnson says, and I'd like to say to all the mothers of the world, happy Mama's Day. Really appreciate you for pointing out again, Jackson. You are 100% correct. It's definitely important for sure. Happy Mother's Day to everyone. Jeff says, Jackson John doing good. Thanks. Scotty says, let's go Celtics again. Definitely pumped up for sure. I'm sure there's a lot of moms that are watching on Mother's Day with their husbands watching this game. You've got Philly fans, Boston fans, and then got people that don't really care who wins, just want a great basketball game. It should be a lot of fun. Really appreciate all you guys for being here. Jeff says, go Celtics. The Celtics are looking solid early. I wouldn't say they're ripping up the roads, however. They're kind of just, I wouldn't say they're playing mediocre, but they've had some moments. You can definitely tell they're playing hard, but it does seem like Philly came out with a mission to start the game on a good note, knowing that they probably need to be ahead to really give themselves a great chance to win. Because if they're coming from behind, the crowd will be so engaged for Boston that Philly might not be able to come back if they're down. So they really wanted to take that first punch, get ahead of Boston, and be able to maybe keep the lead and maybe find a way to win. Philly's doing a solid job of that. But besides Tucker, ironically, hitting 2 big threes in the corner, it's not like Philly has been shooting the basketball that great either. And they haven't had the best offensive sets, but their defense has been there. Harden had that one steal, but he got all the way to the rim, and he dunked it home because he stole the ball. Boston's been a bit sloppy to start, so Philadelphia's taking advantage of that, and they've gotten the least likeliest guy to shoot a couple threes in PJ Tucker after he started the game with a really bad looking shot, but he was able to hit the next two. But I think that really the team that plays harder is going to win, and the team that makes more shots. I know that's cliche as ever, but sometimes just playing hard leads to open opportunities, and that gives you open shots that you're able to make and knock down. Because if you're not playing great defense, that allows the other team to gain confidence, and they're able to make a lot of shots. If you play great defense, I know that good offense beats good defense, but sometimes if you just play good enough defense enough in a game, it doesn't matter how great the other team's shooting. You can stop them enough, and then you can get opportunities off that great defense to win. So we're going to have to see what's going to happen. This is a huge game regardless. I would argue this game is more important for Philadelphia because Doc Rivers and the potential he could get fired if they don't win this game. I don't know if he will. If this was 10 years ago, I would say Doc Rivers is 150% safe. But we're seeing with Monty Williams, Mike Budenholzer, Nick Nurse, two coaches that won an NBA title and then a couple years later got fired, especially with Budenholzer in 2021, and then 2 years later he's gone. And then Monty Williams, he didn't win an NBA title, but he went to one, was NBA Coach of the Year twice, and now he's fired. So if you're Doc Rivers, I mean, I don't know if Philadelphia might be a little bit different, but you definitely don't want to find out. You want to do everything you possibly can to keep your job. In this day and age in the NBA, it is very difficult to keep your job because you got to win, win, win. If you don't win, they're going to get somebody else. Whether that's the right decision to make or not, that's just what teams are doing now. So we're going to have to see, but maybe Doc Rivers will be okay if they don't win. But he is it's very important for him. This is a very important game for Philadelphia. It's important for Boston as well, but I, again, would argue that it's way more important for Philly. But for Jason Tatum, he misses the first free throw. Again, got to make your free throws. He only missed one. Not a big deal. But if you're in a close game, every free throw counts. Every shot that you miss counts. You got to be able to maximize your possession. That's why less turnovers helps as well, because you get more opportunities to score. But Tatum, he's a great free throw shooter. I'm sure he will knock down the second free throw, but still missing that first one is very tough for sure. 5:03 to go in the first. It looks like Tobias Harris is coming back into the game. So hopefully he is okay. Looks like he will be able to return. He should be all right. And Tatum, he does knock down the second free throw. 15-13. Philadelphia is up by 2. 5:03 to go in the first quarter. Malcolm Brogdon and Derek White are into the game now for Boston. Both great bench players for the Celtics and provide a lot for the team. Boston, a very deep team. You could argue the most deep team in the NBA. Top of the key. Embiid, who finished 4th in the league voting, he's guarding him. And a turnover. Marcus Smart down the floor all the way to the rim. And Marcus Smart, he misses a layup. That was a great look there from Marcus Smart, but he could not get the shot to fall. Now Harden on the other end, to Tobias Harris with an alley, could not get it to fall. And now Harden, he gets the rebound somehow. That was a busted play. Looked like it was going to be good, but the timing was just off, and good defense from Boston as well. James Harden, top of the key, off the dribble. He goes up strong. He misses the shot, looking for a foul, and he's not going to get it. 4:10 to go in the first. Jason Tatum into the lane. Kicks to Derek White. Now over to Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart thought about the three, but he decides to keep it. Now Brogdon driving into the lane. Great passing from Boston. Robert Williams to Marcus Smart, and he knocks down the three. 16-15. So he didn't take the first three, but finally the ball came right back to him, and he shot it the three in. 16-15. That's the first three for Boston. Philadelphia's 3 of 7 from three. Boston's back in front after Philly had the lead for a couple minutes. Tobias Harris to Embiid. He taps it out to Melton. Melton in the lane, over to Maxey. Maxey off the drill for a mid-range two. His shot's off the mark, but Melton taps it back home. 17-16, and Philadelphia's back in front. Malcolm Brogdon has the ball at the Boston logo, being guarded by James Harden. Brogdon for three. His shot is off the mark. He has a really unconventional three-point shot, but he can make it, but he was not able to hit that shot right there. Now Tobias Harris driving to the lane with a mid-range two, and he knocks down another jumper. 19-16, and Philadelphia has extended the lead back up to three again. Tobias Harris with 4 points and 2 rebounds, and the more contributions that Philly gets from Tobias Harris, Melton, and some of their other players would be huge, because you got to be able to help Harden, Maxey, and Embiid. It just can't be those three guys. You got to get contributions from the rest of your team, and right now Tobias Harris doing a good job going down the floor, confidently taking that mid-range jumper off that Embiid screen. And when you got a player like Joel Embiid that can screen that hard, it is always great and easy to get open looks. Robert Williams, he's going to the bench, taking a breather. So Boston trying to go out there with a little bit smaller of a lineup. You still got Al Horford into the game. Tatum for three. His shot is off the mark, and Embiid with the rebound again. Boston is still a little cold, not having the greatest offensive first quarter that they would have hoped for. And Embiid unimpeded all the way to the rim around Al Horford. He lays it in. 21-16. Malcolm Brogdon to Tatum, and Tatum with a sweet play all the way to the rim, and that cuts Philly's lead back down to three. 21-18, but still Boston and Philadelphia both kind of struggling to score, especially Boston right now. Now you've got Philly with the ball. Tobias Harris kicks out to Joel Embiid for three. His shot's off the mark. Tatum has the read. Tucker pushing Jaylen Brown, but they did not call it. Now Malcolm Brogdon in the lane. To Tatum in the corner. He fakes the three all the way to the rim, and what a block by Embiid. Embiid swatted that ball and said, let's get that out of here. That was a fantastic block by Joel Embiid. He gave Tatum no chance on that drive. That was a fantastic block. And you definitely got to give credit to Joel Embiid. He is a good defender and a great offensive player. It's one thing to be good on one side of the ball, but another thing to be good on both sides of the ball. Jaylen Brown driving into the lane, and PJ Tucker, what a play. He got his hand on the ball. He's a great defender as well, and he was able to knock the ball out of Jaylen Brown's hands. Tucker thought the ball was off Brown, but they're going to give Boston the ball again. 1:59 to go in the first quarter, 5 seconds left on the shot clock. Brogdon inbounds to Derek White. White driving into the lane. His shot is off the mark, and he loses it out of bounds. It was off his hands. He touched it last. 1:54 to go in the first quarter. But again, got to give credit to Philadelphia's defense. They're giving Boston a hard time right now. Maxey to Embiid. Embiid on Horford to Maxey. Maxey in the lane, driving on Jaylen Brown. He misses, but gets the foul called. Jaylen Brown, probably not a fan of that call. I'm not sure if that was a lot of contact right there. You definitely could see some contact. It looked like it was all initiated by Maxey right there driving in the lane. But a lot of times the offensive player does get the benefit of the doubt on a drive, and he will be shooting 2 free throws. So Maxey, he's a good free throw shooter. First free throw's up, and it's good. 22-18, 1:43 to go in the first quarter. Boston only with 18 points, and we're almost at the end of the first quarter. If that's not going to be sustainable for the rest of the game, if Boston plays like this for the rest of the game, they more likely will not win this game 7 right here in this series. But we'll have to see. Boston still plenty of time. But Maxey, he hits the second, so a 5-point lead for Philadelphia. Again, Maxey with 5 points. 23-18, 76ers. 1:30 to go in the first quarter. Jaylen Brown over to Derek White. Now it's over to Horford. Jaylen Brown driving in the lane. All the way to the rim. Blocked by Embiid again. Embiid is a problem. He is swatting everything. Now Embiid past Al Horford off the glass and one. What a play by Embiid. Embiid drove all the way down the floor, took on Al Horford, and was able to go up off the glass and lay it in. That is incredible. 25-18. Philadelphia is up by 7. How did he hit that shot? He blocks the ball on the other end. I think it might have been Melton, actually, but Embiid on the other end of the floor, laying it in, taking the contact, and he scores. And the free throw is good as well. It's 26-18. Philly is now up by 8. Boston needs a bucket. An 11-2 run for the 76ers. They've had a couple of big runs in this game. But Tatum all the way to the rim, and he somehow went up and in, but I think they might call it on the floor. That was a ridiculous shot by Tatum, but I don't know if they're going to give it to him. Let's see. Tatum all the way. Melton is on him. And Melton with the foul. I don't know. I think maybe it should have been an and-one. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe the foul was earlier. They called it earlier. I think that's what they did. But now Tatum with the ball again. But he scores again anyway. It does not. Only 1 to go in the first quarter. And Tatum's got 11 points and 4 rebounds. No one can question on his effort level and the way he's playing in this first quarter. He's doing a great job. And Joel Embiid, the league MVP, top of the key on Al Horford. Good defense so far by Horford and Embiid. Trying to do a step-back turnaround and an air ball. That's great. Great defense right there. PJ Tucker making life difficult, and the ball went off Al Horford's hands. Al Horford would have had a rebound right there, but PJ Tucker not giving up on the play, and that's what you got to do. You just got to keep being a pest and do everything you possibly can not to allow the opposing team to get the rebound. Just try to poke it off of him. Now Tucker in the corner, and Tucker scores another 3. Boston might want to guard him because Tucker's hit 3 threes. 29-20. What a shot by Tucker. He's confident in this game so far, and Philadelphia is now up by 9 points. That was a great inbounds pass by Melton, and Tucker splashes home that corner 3. 43 seconds left in the first quarter, and Philadelphia is up 29-20 on Boston's own floor. TD Garden has gone silent. Jason Tatum with the ball. He's driving into the lane, kicks in the corner to Al Horford for 3, and Horford responds with a 3 of his own to do a 2-for-1 play to be able to give Boston a chance to end the quarter with the ball. 29-23, Boston is down by 6. 24 seconds left. Maxey at the top of the key with the basketball in his hands. James Harden's on the bench right now, so it's Maxey's show unless he gives it up to Embiid. Maxey in the corner to Tucker again. He misses this time. That would have been huge if Tucker could hit another one. Under 10 seconds to go. Malcolm Brogdon. He's got the basketball for Boston. He thought about the 3, takes the mid-range 2. His shot's off the mark, and that will be the end of this first quarter. 29-23. Philadelphia has a 6-point lead on the Boston Celtics. And PJ Tucker in this series has been only averaging 5 points per game, and he's already got 11. That's a big reason why Philly is winning. When you have a guy that doesn't normally score as much as he is right now in this big game, and he is exceeding what he normally does, that is why the Philadelphia 76ers are winning. But Boston, they've got the depth, but the guys that have come into the game, like Derek White, like Malcolm Brogdon, they have not scored yet. And if Boston is going to win this game, it can't just be all Tatum and Brown. They're going to have to get contributions from the rest of their roster. So we're going to have to see. It's going to be very interesting. But right now, the Philadelphia 76ers look like a more complete team because you're getting contributions from more players, specifically guys like PJ Tucker. That is huge. And Tobias Harris has had a couple big shots as well. And that is big. That's what you have to have if you want to win this Game 7 and win far in the playoffs. That's why you get all of these players around your stars to be able to have a lot of guys that can score at, in big games at will. That's how you have success in the NBA, especially in the playoffs. You have to be a deep team. The Phoenix Suns taught us a valuable lesson that just because you have Kevin Durant who's a superstar and Devin Booker is a superstar and 2 solid guys and Chris Paul and DeAndre Ayton, it's not enough because they didn't have a bench. They had to trade Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, all those guys, and that's why Phoenix was not able to win. For Philadelphia, I don't know if they have as much depth as Boston, but their depth's showing out. The guys that have come in have been solid. For Boston, You can talk about the depth all day long and talk about it being there, but it doesn't mean anything if the depth doesn't go out there and play at a high level. So we're gonna have to see what's gonna happen. But one quarter is in the books. Philadelphia has a 6-point lead. Boston really did struggle in that first quarter, but Jason Tatum, he had a solid first quarter, which is a good sign for the Boston Celtics because of the fact, looking at Jason Tatum, he really struggled in Game 6. He only had 19 points in the entire game, which is not that great. You want to be able to score more than that if you're a player like Tatum, who usually averages 25, 30 points per game. But he did do his damage in the fourth quarter. But Jason Tatum, to start the game like this at a high level, bodes well for the rest of the game because you would assume that Tatum would continue to be on fire. Usually once Tatum's on fire, he continues that for the rest of the game. But we'll have to see. But if his teammates can start getting going as well, that would definitely help them out for sure. Jackson Johnson says, I like Doc Rivers, but unfortunately, history is not on his side when he's coaching a team with a 3-1 lead or a 3-2 lead. Don't believe me, ask the Magic, Celtics, or Clippers fans about what happens. Yeah, I would agree with you, Jackson. I mean, you're right. And that's why I think there's a lot of pressure on Doc Rivers to win this game because of the fact that you look at his past. The Clippers, he had so many talented teams, and they fell shorter, they did not go as far as they should have in the NBA playoffs when he was there. And then you look at Boston. Yes, they won an NBA title with him, but they had an elite team with Rondo and Pierce and Garnett and Ray Allen, all those guys. And they were able to win a title, but they also lost a few times earlier than they would have liked. And then the Magic, the same thing. So I agree. I mean, it's very key and vital for Doc Rivers to be able to win this game. Unfortunately, for Doc Rivers, his players got to go out there and play at a high level, but you also got to put them in a position to succeed as well. So it's an interesting back and forth with that. But I would agree with you. If you're going off of history, Philadelphia will lose this game and Boston will be advancing. But sometimes history can repeat itself and sometimes it can change itself. And maybe this can be a little bit different. Maybe Philadelphia can finally be able to advance. They're up by 6 right now, but there's still a long way to go. James Harden into the lane. He loses the basketball almost. He falls to the floor, and it's an over and back. Tobias Harris went over and back. He's arguing with the ref, but I think that is a good call because when he got the ball from James Harden, he was not across the half-court line, and then he went across and then back. So I agree with that call right there, and Boston with a little bit of momentum potentially to start the second quarter. But James Harden, he got caught in the lane, and that was good defense by Philadelphia because of the fact that was good defense by Boston. Philadelphia's been playing great defense for the most part to start this game, but that was great defense from Boston because Derek White just stood there and James Harden just slipped, and then he had nowhere to go, and he had to pass it back out, and it was a turnover. But Philadelphia's been the team that's been playing better defense to start this game, but Boston has been the one that's kind of ratcheted up the last couple minutes. But they did give the ball back to Philadelphia, so I don't know if they were able to overturn it. They didn't challenge it, but they just overturned the call. They actually gave it back to Philadelphia, but it doesn't matter. They missed, but it did look like it over and back. Jaylen Brown for 3 on the other end. What a shot by Jaylen Brown, 29-26. It did not matter that the call did not go Boston's way because Boston responds. They are down by 3 right now. Jaylen Brown has 7 points, 3 of 8 from the field, 1 of 2 from 3. Harden over to Niang, who's now into the game for Philadelphia. He's had some solid moments in this playoff series. Tobias Harris with a wild shot, and he's fouled by Malcolm Brogdon. Brogdon does not like the foul call. Tobias Harris leaned into him and drew that foul. Joe Mazzulla does not look happy for Boston. Definitely players never look happy for sure. I think that it's a good call. It looked like Malcolm Brogdon did get Tobias Harris on the arm. If he had just been able to stay a little bit more vertical and not get him on the arm, I think he'd have been good. But he got that foul call. Tobias Harris, he knocks down the first free throw. Again, free throws will be key in this game, especially if this is a game that goes down to the wire. Both teams are solid at the line. Both teams have great free throw shooters, but still, sometimes it can come down to 1 or 2 more missed free throws that can be the difference in a win and a loss. And Tobias Harris, he gets that free throw right there. 31-26. Philadelphia up by 5. Marcus Smart with the ball. 11 to go in the second quarter. 15 seconds on the shot clock. He passes it to Jaylen Brown. Smart with the screen. Now Robert Williams with a double screen. Jaylen Brown can't get off of it, though, so he pulls from 3, and his shot is in and out. He had it, but it did not go in. Robert Williams got the rebound, but he was not able to keep the ball. Tobias Harris ends up with it. Now Niang for 3, and Niang's off the mark, and both offenses have gone cold. 10:40 to go in the second quarter. Jaylen Brown back up the floor over to Malcolm Brogdon. Brogdon being guarded by Melton. Brogdon over to Jaylen Brown, Niang on him. Jaylen Brown is a little bit shorter than Niang, but Brown probably has the quickness. But Jaylen Brown dribbled it off of his foot, and yet again, Philadelphia with the great defense. They're doing a good job guarding the Boston Celtics. They're making life difficult for Boston. Every single time Boston tries to go off the dribble, a hand is in that passing lane. Maybe you could argue that potentially he might have gotten a little bit across the body, but still, that was good defense. He was in great position. Jaylen Brown with the turnover. Now Harden into the lane, taking a step back too. Shot is off the mark. Robert Williams almost skied to get that ball down, but he could not. Now you have Philadelphia with the ball again. James Harden. He misses the shot right there, and he's fouled again. 31-26, 10:09 to go in the second quarter, 5-point lead for Philadelphia. That was a fantastic attempt by James Harden with that step back too. He almost knocked it down, but it was just a little bit long, but he got the foul call. Boston is playing good defense, but they seem to just have their hands in the wrong position. Philly's going up, and Boston just fouls them on the arm. You got to stay low. You got to keep your hands straight up. You just cannot get any body part, especially the elbow, because that makes a big difference right there and whether they call a foul or not. Scotty says, I'm so happy for Joe Mazzulla with all the controversy seating with flying colors. I always knew he'd be a coach. But no one could imagine Joe going from, yeah, I completely agree. I mean, from where he was to now, it's incredible for sure. I completely agree with you. You're 100% correct. And I mean, he's got a great team. I mean, he's been put in a great situation after Ime Udoka was no longer Boston's head coach. Joe Mazzulla became the coach. And I mean, you're in a great position. You've got great players. Now you just got to find a way to get them over the mountaintop, get them to an NBA title. That would make Boston fans so happy because they have the team. They have not been able to win an NBA title with Tatum and Brown yet, but they have the team capable of getting it done. They lost to the Warriors last year in the finals, but this year there are no Warriors. The Warriors are eliminated, and maybe Denver could be the toughest team they'll have to face if they can somehow beat Philadelphia in this game and then beat the Miami Heat in the Eastern Conference Finals. Don't want to get ahead of yourself, but if they do face Denver, in my opinion, has the depth and the talent to match Boston. But it will be interesting for sure to see if they do face Denver or Los Angeles, or if even Boston advances from this game. It's going to be interesting for sure. It's what makes the NBA playoffs so much fun. Jeff says, come on, Celtics. The Celtics, they're just still a little sluggish. I mean, Jason Tatum, he's had a good start to the game, but usually the depth for Boston is what helps them win games. So many guys can score. I mean, there were games this season where 6-7 guys for Boston all had over 15 points. Whether it was Malcolm Brogdon, whether it was Derek White, even Grant Williams coming in scoring points. They have depth, but right now they're not doing the job. And I think Philadelphia's defense, kudos to the 76ers. Their defense is getting the job done. Is James Harden, he's not one for defense most of the time in the NBA. A lot of people have talked about James Harden's defense at length in the NBA about how he's not the greatest defender in the world. But he's going out there and he's actually playing some fairly good defense. Maxi's playing hard. He's fast. He can do that. And Joel Embiid on the back end is going out there and blocking shot after shot. We know Joel Embiid is a great blocker, but when his head's in the game and he's locked in, I mean, you saw him running the floor from a block all the way down to the other end of the floor, and he's able to score. So it's crazy for sure. I mean, it is one of those things where you just have to be able to go out there and play harder than the other team. You have to outfight the other team. That's how you win games like this. Sometimes you're not shooting the ball well, but your defense can help you get a victory. Because Boston probably shouldn't have won Game 6. Philadelphia should have already won the series, but Boston played great defense on Philadelphia in Game 6 in Philly, and Boston was able to win that game 95-86. That was a low-scoring game for the NBA, especially in the playoffs, but now we're in Game 7, and Philadelphia's trying to return the favor and be able to win at Boston again, just like they did in Game 5. Will Philly be able to do it? We'll have to see. But right now, the way they're starting this game, it's possible. They're going out there playing at a high level. They might be able to get it done. Who knows? We'll have to see. Jack says, row raggy. Harris is hurting. Hopefully, Harris will be able to finish the game. It seems like he is recovered from his slight injury earlier. He's back out there. But sometimes injuries can creep back up, and you'll have to leave a game. But as long as he does not start hurting again, he should be okay. He's still out there on the floor, and he's been playing at a fairly high level. James Harden, he's at the line. He's a good free throw shooter. Feel like he will be able to knock him down. First free throw's good. 32-26. 10:09 to go in the second quarter. Harden is one of the better free throw shooters in the NBA. Maxey, he's coming back into the game. That is really tough for Boston, though, getting those fouls because they're not hard fouls. Derek White did not foul James Harden that hard, but he got just a little bit of his elbow. And that was enough for the refs to call the foul. You got to do a better job of not fouling. James Harden knocks down both free throws. 7-point lead for Philly. Again, keeping the TD Garden Arena crowd at bay. 33-26. Jaylen Brown over to Marcus Smart into the lane, and another turnover for Boston. Philadelphia up the floor. Melton all the way to the rim, and he loses the ball out of bounds, but they're going to call a block from behind by Boston, and that they knocked it out of bounds. So it will remain Philadelphia 76ers ball, but wow, what a drive and block by Jaylen Brown. It's a good drive by Melton, but he got rejected. Now you've got the top of the key, Paul Reed, who's into the game. Paul Reed's had some moments, especially when Embiid was out, and Melton for 2. And Philly's up by 9. No timeout yet for Boston, but the crowd is probably in shock. Boston's down by 9 points. 9:30 to go in the second. DeAnthony Melton with 4 points and 3 rebounds. Brown in the lane, loses his footing, has to kick it out to Brogdon. Brogdon into the lane. Now over to Marcus Smart. Top of the key, back to Brogdon. Brogdon fakes past Paul Reed, goes up strong. Now James Harden with a block. Again, James Harden never plays this great a defense. This is incredible. James Harden swatting that ball away. This is fantastic by Philly. If they continue this high level of defense, that they're going to win this game. This is great defense. I mean, James Harden swatting down low on Jaylen Brown, getting that shot, swatting balls from Brogdon. He's had a couple big blocks on both of them. Now Harden with the ball on the offensive end. His team up by 9 points. 9:10 to go in the second quarter. Harden top of the key. Driving into the lane, takes a mid-range, and that shot was off the mark, and the ball this time is off Paul Reed. So it will be Boston basketball this time around, 35-26. 9:03 to go in the second quarter. Tatum, he is coming back into the game. But right now, the Boston Celtics are just a little bit out of sorts. The 76ers are just playing good enough defense on them where it is definitely keeping the Boston Celtics offense at bay. They're not having the type of production that they normally have out of their role players. Tatum's had a solid start to the game, but even guys like Jaylen Brown have not done too much. Marcus Smart has kind of struggled. Tatum trying to drive in the lane, and he draws a foul. 8:49 to go in the second quarter, and DeAnthony Melton, he fouls Jason Tatum. Tatum is at the foul line. He'll have a couple of free throws right here. That's probably a smart strategy for Boston. Just try to get the ball in your best player's hands and Tatum, and just try to get to the rim and draw some fouls. And Tatum misses the first free throw. That's his second miss at the line. You cannot miss free throws in a big game like this. No one's perfect, but still, if you are Jason Tatum, you got to find a way to hit more of these free throws. That is tough. He's missed 2. That could definitely help Boston be a little bit closer in this game than they currently are. But he still is a guy that he's clutch late in games, so we'll have to see if Tatum can start to hit his free throws better later on in the game. And his second free throw is good. So he's only missed 2. I think he's like 3 of 5 at the line. It's 35-27, 4 of 6. He's 4 of 6 at the line, 4 of 8 from the field, 12 points, 4 rebounds. So Tatum's been probably the lone bright spot for Boston for the most part. And Embiid down low, and there's a turnover. Tatum down the floor all the way to him. And what a block by Philly again. The Philadelphia 76ers are annihilating Boston on defense with all these blocks. This is incredible. Then James Harden on the other end, he loses the basketball out of bounds. But a player for Boston's down. Hopefully he's okay. It looks like, is it Jaylen Brown? I can't tell because of the camera. And yes, it is. It's Jaylen Brown. He's down. It looks like maybe he got a little bit of contact from James Harden. Don't know if it was the ball or an elbow. Let's see. James Harden, I think, got Jaylen Brown in the head a little bit. Hopefully he's okay, and he kind of fell and ran into the bottom of the goal. Kind of hard, but that's one of those bang-bang plays. I mean, you're going up in the air. You're trying to block a ball, and Harden, I mean, his elbow's right there. It hits you in the head. Oof, that's always tough. We have seen a lot of big hits in these NBA playoffs. You got to give credit to the players. All of these playoff series, most of the teams have played really hard. There's been a lot of effort displayed, but there's also been a lot of technical fouls. There's been a lot of big hits that have definitely hurt players for sure. Yeah, Jaylen Brown, it's got a little bit of blood. They're going to have to clean it up. That stinks right there. Jaylen Brown hopefully will be okay. But James Harden, he got him good, but he did not mean to, so I don't think there should be a technical foul. They're reviewing it, though. The referees are over there at the monitor reviewing to see if that is a technical foul on James Harden. I don't think so. I mean, it's not malicious at all. I know that they're getting more peculiar about plays above the, in the head or neck area, above the neck, above the shoulders. I get that. And when somebody gets hit up there, they automatically call a technical or give an extra free throw or whatever. But I don't think that that's malicious in any way, shape, or form. James Harden's just going up strong. Jaylen Brown, I mean, he took a shot though. And the fact that you got Jaylen Brown like 4 feet off the ground and he gets hit in the head, that's incredible. I mean, Jaylen Brown jumped really high. Still James Harden somehow got him up there, but we'll have to see. But there's 8:26 to go in the second quarter. But the thing that's been the most impressive about this game is how good of a job Philadelphia is doing on the defensive end. I mean, they've got a team that's capable of playing defense. That's why they've got P.J. Tucker. Joel Embiid speaks for himself. He's a great defender. But when you've got James Harden going out there and blocking balls and stealing the ball, I mean, he's locked in as well. Philly really wants to win this game, and I'm sure Doc Rivers has told his team everything that they possibly need to do to win because he knows potentially his job could be on the line. Not sure. I think he could still be safe, but as we see in the NBA, coaches is not really safe at all. 16 Game 7 as a head coach, most all time for Doc Rivers, and he is 6-9 in those games so far. Not that great. Not the record's not there. I know that's why a lot of people definitely talk about Doc Rivers in a negative light, but still, he's been in a lot of playoffs. He's had a lot of success as a coach. Definitely had some times where he hasn't had a lot of success. So it's really interesting. Doc Rivers definitely an enigma for sure. But they're still reviewing this play. James Harden going up, got contact with Jaylen Brown's head. I don't know if they're going to call it technical. I still don't think that they should. But just because it shouldn't be, yeah, they did call a flagrant foul. So they call a flagrant on James Harden. I don't think it should have been, but it is what it is. Definitely when it's involved in the head or neck area, I get it when the refs call that foul. Jaylen Brown definitely trying to keep his face okay after James Harden, so definitely got some tissue in there. Jaylen Brown, he scores the first free throw. So definitely Jaylen Brown with no one at the line. Sometimes it is the hardest to shoot free throws when nobody else is at the stripe. It is difficult to do that because you're alone, but he's able to knock down the first even through the pain that he is under right now, and he hits the second as well. Nice free throws by Jaylen Brown. This could be a momentum turner in this game to be able to help Boston be able to get back in the game. They were down by 8. Now they're down to 6. So we'll have to see. But for sure, this is potentially a momentum builder for Boston. The crowd is trying to get back in it. Still, this could be a problem. Philadelphia allows Boston to go on a big run. That could be a game changer on that flagrant foul because Philly had all the momentum. Tatum to Robert Williams and TD guards back on their feet. And just like that, it's a 4-point game. That's why flagrant and technical fouls are really vital sometimes and be able to swing a game one way or the other. Tatum now has 12 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists. He's doing a little bit of everything. Now another turnover. Maxey trying to get to Harden with the steal by Jaylen Brown, and he lays it in. 35-33. 7:57 to go in the second quarter, and a 7-0 run by the Boston Celtics since the flagrant foul on James Harden. And timeout Philadelphia. That's probably a good timeout because Boston is starting to go on a run. They're getting back on their feet. The crowd's getting back involved. And what a play by Jaylen Brown all the way to the rim. Tatum with the unselfish alley-oop play to Robert Williams. And Boston starting to feel it. How many times have we seen games before where a flagrant foul or a technical foul or some player getting ejected just swings the momentum to the other team? So for Philadelphia, probably a good timeout by Doc Rivers, and they're going to have to find a way to get the crowd settled back down and kind of get Boston unraveled again because Boston's starting to get back on track. They definitely were a bit unglued a bit. You could definitely tell that Philadelphia was going out there and just playing great defense. They were neutralizing Boston, keeping them at bay, and they were actually starting to build a moderate lead. They were up by 6 to 8 points, and Boston just was kind of out of it. Well, now the tide has turned. It is a 2-point game, and again, probably a good and smart timeout by Doc Rivers because you do not want to allow Boston to get momentum and take the lead. Because if they do, Boston can start to run away with this thing. It's one of those things where, to me, I really feel like Philly, they have to be in the lead for the most part in this game. They just can't allow Boston to get ahead. Now, if Boston's up by 10, I don't think it's impossible that Philly can't come back. They've done it before in this series and in the NBA this season. But this is a game 7. Once Boston gets the juices flowing, the crowd is engaged, it's just going to be very difficult for Philadelphia to come back. So it's going to be very interesting. The tide is turning in this game. It's been a great game so far. Still 7:57 to go in the second quarter, and a whole second half left in this great game 7. But it should be very interesting to see what happens. Jeff says Smart for 3. Marcus Smart, yeah, he hit that big 3 there. You're absolutely correct. But outside of that, Marcus Smart has kind of struggled a bit in this game. He has not had maybe the impact that he normally would have had. I know that he's not the biggest offensive player in the world. He does most of his damage on defense, which helps carry his offense and the rest of his team. And he's had a couple of big plays in the last couple minutes, especially on defense. So he is starting to kind of get involved. But sometimes, especially when Jaylen Brown isn't having his best offensive game, which still relatively early in the game, maybe Jaylen Brown can get going. But Marcus Smart just kind of seems like he's not really there on offense as of this point. And Robert Williams and Al Horford, they're doing a little bit, but just not getting enough production out of players not named Jason Tatum. They're starting to pick it up, though. But for Philadelphia, it's more balanced. That's why they had this lead, because you did have PJ Tucker hitting those big 3s in the corner. He had a big layup. James Harden was playing fantastic defense, which is a big reason why they are winning. Joel Embiid, solid on both sides of the ball like he always is on offense and on defense. Tyrese Maxey was doing some solid things. So their team was all around doing a better job than Boston, but that's starting to change now that Boston's going on this run. But the NBA and basketball in general is a game of runs. You look at most sports, you look at baseball, you look at football, it takes longer to score, but in basketball, you can go on a run in a hurry. So, I mean, Boston down by 8, now it's down to 2. But Philadelphia can extend the lead back. Just teams can score so quickly, it goes back and forth. That's what makes the NBA so fun to watch because of the quick nature of it. And the least fouls that there are, the better, because you definitely want to see the up and down action, watching these players' athleticism go to work. And these players like Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Maxey Hart, I mean, ridiculous athleticism, being able to make the plays that they do. It is incredible for sure. But 35-33, and after the flagrant foul on James Harden, the tide has turned. Maxey into the lane. Boston starting to get back in the game. The crowd is starting to get louder. Maxey to Embiid. 11 points and 3 rebounds for Jaylen Brown. He is starting to get going a bit, and Embiid misses the shot. Now Tatum back the other way, trying to go all the way to the rim. Kicks to Horford for 3. Horford's off the mark, but Robert Williams, he gets the ball, and he lays it in, but they call the foul on the floor. That is the second play that Boston has had a potential and one that they've called it on the floor, and Boston has not liked that call at all. I think that you can make an argument it was an and one because Robert Williams got fouled, went straight up with it, but they called the foul on the floor, so Philly definitely got a break right there. But Al Horford, he will be inbounding it. 7:28 to go in the second quarter, 10 seconds on the shot clock. Robert Williams, top of the key. Over to Jason Tatum with Tobias Harris on his back. Tatum misses the layup. He had the shot, but he could not get it to fall. James Harden, he has the ball over to Tobias Harris. Tobias Harris almost with the travel, but he definitely was able to keep his pivot foot down before he did. Now Harden has the ball again. 7 minutes to go in the second quarter. Harden top of the key. Over to Tobias Harris for 3. No good. Jaylen Brown almost with the rebound, and he does save it from going out of bounds. What a play by Jaylen Brown. Over to Robert Williams to Tatum. Tatum to Horford. And the refs stop play with 6:50 to go in the second quarter. And they're trying to wipe up the floor. There's probably some sweat. I think maybe Jaylen Brown might have slipped, so that's why they stopped play. I don't know. Jaylen Brown, I think he's upset. I think Jaylen Brown is upset because there was a wet spot on the floor and he might have slipped, which he could have got hurt from that, so we'll have to see. I don't know if there's some extracurriculars going on, but the referees are going back over there to watch and monitor the play again. Let's see. Jaylen Brown was going out of bounds. I don't know if something happened. I don't know if somebody pushed him or what. I have no idea. But Jaylen Brown was not happy. Something happened over there on the sideline. Jaylen Brown he got knocked out when he was trying to go after the ball. Let's see. What? Yeah, I don't know. You can make an argument. I mean, it looks like a couple of guys on the bench might have pushed Brown a bit. It wasn't much, but definitely you don't want to make anybody upset when you're on the opposing sideline. I mean, who knows? I think somebody said something to him on the sideline, so now they're reviewing it. You can't have a game 7 without drama for sure, and there is some drama going on right now. 6:50 to go in the second quarter. 35-33 Philadelphia over Boston. Refs are over at the monitor to see if there is anything extracurricular going on with this Jaylen Brown play over by the bench. Nothing happened in play. I think there was a wet spot on the floor as well. But it looks like potentially the Philadelphia bench maybe pushed Jaylen Brown a bit. He got upset. There was some verbal words. So we'll have to see if there's any technical foul on the bench or Jaylen Brown, or if it's a double tech. I have no idea. But that is crazy for sure. I don't know. I mean, everybody's going back down on the floor and about to start the next play, and they just blow it dead. It's like, what happened? And Jaylen Brown's over there going off at the bench. It's crazy. Definitely, you can tell this is a game 7. The atmosphere is there. The drama is there. The big plays have been there. 6:50 to go in the second quarter. Got a whole second half as well. Really appreciate all you guys for being here on this Mother's Day Sunday. Again, appreciate all the mothers out there for sure. And I really appreciate all you guys for being here. They're still reviewing this play. We'll have to see what they decide to call. It could be a double tech. I don't know. Could be a double tech on Jaylen Brown and the bench, but we'll have to see. We'll definitely find out. Thanks for being here, Nick Grun. Jeff says he can't show it. It's against the rules for sure. Cannot show the game, but appreciate you for stopping by. Jeff says, I'm sure Jaylen Brown doesn't feel very well, but he seems okay. Yeah, I agree. I mean, he definitely took a shot to the face. It's unfortunate. James Harden, I don't think that it was on purpose at all. I think it was purely accidental, but it is what it is. But like you said, I don't think Jaylen Brown feels good at all. It's probably made him more frustrated with the bench because of the fact that he doesn't feel that great. But hopefully he is okay, and hopefully no more tempers flare. I mean, you definitely want the spiritedness. You want the spiritedness of a game 7 in a big game like this, but you don't want anybody to get into it either. Tatum over to Marcus Smart. Finally, the game resumes. Jaylen Brown top of the key. I think they just said nothing happened. Tatum over to Robert Williams. What a play. Jason Tatum to Robert Williams, and you've got to give credit to Tatum right now. He's having a really good first half, but he's starting to get his teammates involved, and that is huge. Celtics on a 9-0 run since that flagrant foul on James Harden. James Harden to Joel Embiid. He's surveying over Al Horford. Embiid trying to drive on Horford, kicks out to Harden. 6:10 to go in the second quarter. Harden into the lane with a floater, and Harden gets the shot to fall. He took some contact, but there's no foul. 35. Now Jaylen Brown in the corner to Al Horford, and Horford knocks down the corner 3. What a shot. Crowd back on their feet. 38-37. We've got lead changes. 5:50 to go in the second quarter. Both teams are going back and forth. Horford with 6 points. James Harden with Horford on. Horford switched over to Tucker in the corner. He fakes the 3 to Maxey. Now to Embiid for 3. Embiid shots off the mark, but Harden with a rebound. Again, Harden with the effort today. He's doing a great job. Displaying more effort than usual. Harden off the dribble to Maxey. And Maxey with a ridiculous layup, and it falls. What a play. 39-38. That was a ridiculous shot by Maxey. 5:20 to go in the second. Jaylen Brown fakes the 3, kicks in the corner. Now Tatum is in the corner with Tobias Harris on him. Tatum all the way to the rim, and he lays it in. And the Celtics are back in front. What athleticism. 40-39. Tatum with 14.6 boards, a couple of assists. 5 to go in the second. James Harden driving into the lane. He almost loses the ball, and he does. What a steal by Robert Williams. Jaylen Brown up the floor, all the way to the rim, taking contact, kicks it back out to Robert Williams. Horford is now in the corner wide open, but he cannot get the ball. But Robert Williams had to give it to somebody, and Tatum was there. He could have kicked it to Horford, but it looked like Embiid might have recovered just in time. But Tatum off the dribble. Oh, man. Tatum with another play. What a play right there by Jason Tatum, all the way to the rim, laying it in. Horford's a decoy in the corner. Robert Williams with the athleticism to kick it back out to Tatum, and Tatum just with the pure athleticism at 6'8", just driving all the way to the rim and laying it in. He's got 16, and Boston's up 3. 42-39. Embiid on Horford. Embiid trying to go up strong. He lays it in, no foul. They could have maybe got Horford there, but they did not call a foul. 42-41. Marcus Smart outside to Horford. He fakes the 3 to Robert Williams. Williams goes up strong. His shot's off the mark. And Tucker almost gets the ball. He saves it from going to Boston because it goes out of bounds and it's off of Boston. Great effort by Tucker, but incredible plays being made by both teams. 4 to go in the second quarter, and I can tell this could be a game that goes down to maybe the team with the ball last. This is how great of a game we have right now. Both teams are playing at a high level, and there's been some spectacular plays being made by Jason Tatum, Joel Embiid, several players. Tatum with 16, Brown with 11. Now Embiid in the lane. He misses the layup. Marcus Smart with the rebound. Jaylen Brown up the floor all the way to the rim. And Jaylen Brown for 2 more. He's got 13 points. 44-41. Incredible 3-point lead for Boston. Again, that flagrant foul. Oh, but that flagrant foul on James Harden was huge. But Maxey with a deep 30-foot three, just sticking it to Boston. Tie game. 44-44. Maxey with 10 points, not to be outshined by the Jays. Jaylen Brown driving in again, kicks to Robert Williams. Robert Williams goes up strong, but Embiid with the rejection. Now you've got Tobias Harris in the lane, and he lays it in off glass. 46-44, and Philly's back in front. And this is the most exciting of basketball game. You get back and forth, both teams exchanging lead change, incredible athleticism, sheer talent on the floor, those talented players in the world in the NBA and basketball. Marcus Smart for 3, his shot is off the mark. Melt with the board. This is a crazy game. 2:45 to go in the second. Philly up 2. Harden to Maxey for 3. Maxey can't make the shot. It looked good, but just a little bit short. Tatum, he's got the rebound right there. Now Tatum off the dribble. Tatum with a step back. Tatum drains the shot. 46 all. Tie game again. We've got lead changes and ties. Probably have to have around 5 or 6 ties by now. Maybe 9 or 10 lead changes. And hopefully a lot more as this game continues to progress. Tatum with 18.7 boards. Now Embiid on the other end. And he is fouled by Al Horford. And Embiid will have a couple of free throws. 2:17 to go in the second quarter. The Ohio State says, what's up, Only Talk Sport? This is the first time I've seen you do an afternoon stream. Hope your weekend is going well. Really appreciate you for being here via Ohio State on this Mother's Day. I really appreciate you for being here, and I could not miss this game. You've got Game 7, the Boston Celtics, the Philadelphia 76ers, Game 7, the winner to represent in the Eastern Conference Final. What a game, and I really appreciate you for stopping by. Embiid, he knocks down the first free throw. And we've got more NBA action this week. Should be a lot of fun in the Eastern and Western Conference Finals. And we've got draft lottery. So much stuff going on in the NBA. It should be a lot of fun for sure. Definitely we'll be able to find out which team's going to pick Victor Wembanyama, who's probably more than likely going to be the number 1 pick. You want to throw in the probably because you never know. Maybe there's a surprise, but he's going to be the number 1 pick. He's that good. Hopefully he can stay healthy. He's a tall and thin player. It's always interesting there, like with Chet Holmgren. Don't want him to get hurt, but he is talent. He can shoot threes and do it all. Definitely some people saying the best prospect since LeBron James. So it'll be interesting to see which team's going to get him. Philly hits both free throw with Embiid. On the other end, Tatum goes up strong, and he gets fouled on the way to the rim. So he'll be going to the line, 48-46. Jason Tatum right there, again showing how much talent he has going downhill. He almost hit the layup. It was an incredible play, and Tatum did a good job selling that contact as well because Embiid, he only got him a little bit in the back, and that's how he got that foul call. Tatum's first free throw is good. He's missed a couple free throws already, but he's 5 of 7 right now. 48-47. With another free throw, Tatum could tie this game, and he would have 20 first-half points. A great first half so far by Jason Tatum. 19.7 rebounds. He's 7 of 13 from the field and 5 of 7 at the free throw line. Really solid first half. And Tatum, he knocks down the second, so he's got 20 points. 48-48. 2 to go in the second quarter. Maxey with the ball. You got Marcus Smart on Embiid. Marcus Smart don't care who he's guarding. He's funny. He's a great defender. He does not care at all. Now you've got Marcus Smart trying to guard, and they call a foul on Marcus Smart, unless they called it on Robert Williams. It was on one of them because Embiid got double teamed right there, and they call a foul on the Boston Celtics. Not much you can do when you got Embiid in the lane like that. Just not much you can do. Embiid is a load to stop. You had really a triple team with Brown, Smart, and Williams, and it still didn't matter. And Embiid, he will be at the line for 2 free throws. The last 2 free throws he shot, both of them were good. And his first free throw is off the mark. He misses one this time. 1:51 to go in the second quarter. He'll have one more free throw. He is a solid free throw shooter for his size, but he's not able to hit them all the time. But he is a great player, well deserving of the league MVP this season. But it would really hurt Philly if they're not able to advance further with the league MVP. They got a good team, but Boston is tough. 49-48, Philly up by 1. 1:45 to go in the second quarter. Jason Tatum with 20 points. He's got the ball. Embiid's got 10 points and 2 blocks. Not having the most efficient first half, but still with some big highlight plays. Tatum with Maxey on. That's a height advantage for Tatum, and he lays it in over Maxey. Not much Maxey can do. He does not have the weight and height to stop Tatum. 50-49, Tatum with 22 points. He's already surpassed what he had in all of Game 6 when he only had 19 points against Philly, even though he had a great fourth quarter. Embiid knocks down Marcus Smart, and Marcus Smart is looking for a charge. 1:18 to go in the second quarter. They've given Embiid the points, 51-50. But was that a charge or was it a flop? I don't know if they're going to review it or not. Let's see. Embiid off the dribble, and he ran into Smart. I don't know. Smart does a good job at selling contact. That might have been a charge. Embiid drove. I think it is. I mean, Smart definitely sold it, but I think that you can make an argument that that was a charge. But it looks like they might have called a blocking foul on Marcus Smart. It's close. Those are one of those bang-bang plays where it's really hard to tell whether it's a charge or a block, but they called a block, so Embiid will be going to the line. But if I had to say, I would think that would have been a charge. But it will be a free throw for Embiid nonetheless, and he knocks it down. So it's 52-50, and you have the 76ers up by 2 points. 1:10 to go in the second quarter. Embiid now up to 13 points. Tatum at the top of the key. Under a minute and 5 to go. Smart for 2, and he knocks down the shot. Smart making up for that foul. Tie game again. Under a minute now. James Harden over to Tobias Harris. Man, we've had a lot of ties in this game. Smart is 5 points and 2 rebounds, and I'm sure it'll be a lot more the way this game's going. Embiid on Robert Williams. Driving into the lane. Good double team by Tatum, and there's a steal. Jaylen Brown down the floor. 40 seconds left in the second quarter. Robert Williams gets it to Tatum. Top of the key. Tatum trying to make a move with his signature step back 3, and he knocks down the shot. 55-52, and Boston's back in front. TD Garden is on their feet. Philadelphia with James Harden up the floor, and Tatum with 25 points in this first half. He's on fire. When Tatum's feeling it, it's hard to stop him. 15 seconds left. James Harden. Robert Williams on him. 12 seconds. Harden for 3. His shot's off the mark. The ball is out of bounds off of the Philadelphia 76ers. You have 9.7 seconds, and Boston will have the last shot of the first half. But Tatum, he is fantastic when he's feeling it with that step back 3. And that was a great shot right there off the dribble. With a step back over Tobias Harris, he could not close out, and Tatum got that shot off cleanly, and he was able to knock it down. Boston up 55-52. 5 seconds left. Tatum with the ball in his hand. You feel like he will take the last shot. He pulls from 3, off the mark, almost had it, and Tucker could not do anything with it. The bell had already sounded, the horn had sounded, and that is the half. On this Game 7, 55-52, the Boston Celtics have a 3-point lead led by Jason Tatum's 25 points, with the 76ers was more spread out between Tucker and Harden and Embiid and Maxey. But the Celtics, it was definitely Tatum's show. He was on fire, but he's probably going to have a big second half if Boston's going to win, because the rest of his team is not really stepping up. Besides Jaylen Brown, he kind of got going in that second quarter. But Al Horford, he had a couple big threes, but just not a lot of production from some of their other guys. So we'll have to see. Marcus Smart still being the defender he always is. But nonetheless, Boston with a narrow 3-point lead at the half, mainly because of Jason Tatum's 25 points. The Ohio State says Tatum is playing really well today. You're 100% correct. And it's a big response from Tatum, and it shows you the type of player that Jason Tatum is. Because in the last game, he was being criticized all game long because he had like 7 points in the third quarter. I think it might have even already been the fourth quarter, and he still had 7 points. And Boston was down. and he was struggling. He couldn't hit anything. He only had like one field goal, and it was already the fourth quarter. And then Jason Tatum hit all those threes and was able to lead the Boston Celtics to victory in Game 6, which is why they're here in this game. They wouldn't even have this game if it wasn't for Tatum in that fourth quarter and the defense that Boston played with. But then in this game, Jason Tatum is putting that game that he had behind him and carrying over that fourth quarter success that he had and in this game. And he's got 25 points, and he's confident as ever. And that's a superstar player. When you can go out there in a game like this and have a big game. It's one thing to have a big regular season game where it doesn't really matter. But when your game depends on having a great game, depends on you and be able to lead your team to victory in this game. Jason Tatum's delivered that and then some. Yes, he's going to have to do it for another half, but if he can get more contributions from his teammates, he might not have to have as big of a second half because he's already done a lot of his damage. He's already has 25 points. But I think it's really important, and it shows you the type of player that Jason Tatum is in the fact that he is able to turn around a poor performance and be able to build off of that performance and have a really big game here today after he had a great fourth quarter. And if Tatum can keep it up and Boston keep it up, they can win. But Philadelphia, they're not wanting to go anywhere. Doc Rivers wants to prove he can win a big game here in a big Game 7. He's got the team to get it done, but it's going to be tough in TD Garden, but it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. It's been a great game. Justice Tatum is killing it for sure. There's not anything he can't do right now. The worst thing he's probably done is miss 2 free throws, and that's not too bad. That's not too bad at all, only missing 2 free throws. I mean, he's been on fire. He's been hitting threes. He's been getting to the rim. He's also been passing the ball. He tried to get Robert Williams involved for a couple big plays. He's done a good job there. He's rebounding the ball at a fairly high level. He's playing some pretty solid defense. There's not really anything Tatum is necessarily doing bad. And that is a great sign. When you're doing a good job of just going out there and continue to play at a high level, even if not all your shots are falling, but just get all that bad behind you, just continue to play at a high level, rebound, pass, defend, make shots, hit free throws. That's what Tatum is doing, and then some. The Ohio State is the winner of this game, I think, will represent the East in the NBA Finals. It's a good point. I mean, Miami, you never want to count them out. Miami has proven that they're a solid team, but they were able to beat the Milwaukee Bucks without Giannis in 3 games. And then when he came back, Jimmy Butler was great. And Miami won that series. And then you look at the Knicks. Julius Randle was out a game. And then you look at Quickly, was out a couple of games toward the end. And again, all credit to Miami because they have Tyler Hero and Victor Oladipo out as well. And they're going out there playing at a high level. But still, looking at Miami, they are the 8th seed. And Jimmy Butler's had to carry Miami a lot. He's had to carry them a bunch in the series. And I don't know if he can continue to do that. Maybe he can. But I will say that whoever wins this game has a much deeper team. And both teams are healthy. So I don't know if Miami will be able to compete with that. I think that the potential's there. You never want injuries to happen. But if Boston, Philly get the injury bug just like Milwaukee and also the Knicks, there's a chance that Miami could win. But hopefully that does not happen to Philly or Boston. As long as either team's healthy, yeah, I would agree with you, Ohio State. Miami, even though they should never be counted out for what they've done so far, it's really going to be hard to see them somehow being able to win against Boston or Philly. It's going to be very interesting. The Ohio State, it would be great to see Jimmy Butler and Miami go to the final, but I think the winner of this game beats the Heat in the Eastern Conference final. I would agree with you. I mean, again, the depth's there. Because you look at Phoenix, everyone thought when the KD trade happened that Phoenix could go far, could go all the way, but depth is so underrated. Depth is so underrated in the NBA. You have to have depth. It is one thing to have 2 superstars. Like if you had Boston and you had Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, and they're both great, and that's awesome, but then the rest of their team was filled up with a bunch of guys that aren't that great, you know, are not guys that can help you out, not guys that can help lead you far in a playoff series. They might be guys that every now and then can put up 20, but it's about consistently doing so. Then Boston wouldn't be here. It doesn't matter that you have Tatum and Brown. Tatum and Brown are awesome, and if you didn't have Tatum and Brown, then Boston wouldn't be where they're at. But you're also winning because of Marcus Smart, Al Horford, Robert Williams, Derek White, Malcolm Brogdon. That's why they traded to get Al Horford back. That's why they traded for Derek White, and they traded for Malcolm Brogdon. They did that so they could have the deepest team possible to be able to help Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown win a title. That's why they did it. You have to have depth. You look at Denver, their depth's there. You have Jamal Murray and obviously the star Nikola Jokic, but you got Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Bruce Brown, several other guys. You've got Aaron Gordon. You've got Michael Porter Jr. You've got Jeff Green. You've got Christian Brown. They've got a bunch of guys that can score. And I think that's key because Phoenix did not have that. You had Kevin Durant, And then you had, you got Chris Paul, who's older, and Devin Booker, who's a star, and DeAndre Ayton, who people are wondering if he will become a star. It's just one of those things where you have to have more depth. Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson, if there was some way that Phoenix would have been able to still have Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson on their team with the rest of the guys that they had with Kevin Durant being added, there's a chance maybe they could have won it all. But since that's not the case, that just completely ruined everything. It's interesting. The Ohio State is Tuesday night. It's the big night. We get to see who gets the first pick, and we'll get Wembanyama. I agree with you. I mean, everyone's excited. I know the Spurs, the Rockets, the Pistons, all those teams, they want him. But even if they don't land him, Scoot Henderson, Brandon Miller, there's some other guys that are really solid as well. But Victor Wembanyama, if he's healthy, he could be a generational talent. For sure, because of his skill set. It is unbelievable. It's going to be very interesting for sure. The Ohio State, I think Wembanyama will actually fit best with the Spurs. He will be solid with the Pistons and Rockets, but Spurs such a good fit for him with Popovich and their history of getting international player. That's a good point. I mean, you look at Manu Ginobili, some of the other guys that they had that were not, came from Europe and stuff. So, I mean, it's important. I think that could play a role. I mean, it's interesting that people talk about coaches and how if you don't win, you get fired. Sometimes you just don't have the players, though. I mean, you look at the Rockets coach. He got fired this offseason, and, I mean, he didn't have a team. And you look at the Spurs, you had Ginobili, Parker, Duncan, and they won games. With Popovich, they won titles. Now they've got one of the youngest teams in the league, and any player that they get that's really good, like Jakob Poeltl or DeJounte Murray, they're trading away for assets, which is cool, but you're forever in tank mode and rebuild mode if you never get a team that you have that you finally build something with to actually win. If you just keep on trading your best players away, you're going to keep losing. But no one's going out there saying Greg Popovich can't coach because of the history and success he had before, but he's not winning anything either. Nobody can win anything if you don't have the players. So I think that's the biggest thing when coaches get fired. Sometimes it's not their fault. Sometimes it has to do, with the overall health of the team, the overall talent of the team. Is it a good fit? Like with Nick Nurse, and you can blame Nick Nurse on the fact that he didn't get a better roster together that was constructed properly. Maybe that was his fault, because you look at the Raptors, I mean, they didn't have enough guards. You had Gary Trent, you had Fred VanVleet. Then the rest of it was forwards and Anunoby, Barnes, Boucher, Precious Achiuwa. And then you had Siakam and Jakob Poeltl they were on. It was way too front court oriented and wing oriented. They didn't have enough guards. And then you look at someone like the Suns, the Kevin Durant trade. If Monty Williams made the Kevin Durant trade, then yeah, that wasn't a great trade because they traded too much to get him. And if that was Monty Williams' idea, then yeah, okay, I get why he got fired. But if it wasn't, then it's not really his fault. They just didn't have enough depth. And then you look at the Bucks. Giannis was hurt, and I mean, they won an NBA title 2 years ago. I get that the roster's starting to age a bit with Middleton and Drew Holiday and stuff, but still, I mean, the next coach is going to have those same problems. So if you're the Bucks, you got to make sure that your next coach is somehow better than Budenholzer or a better fit than Budenholzer, or then it's not a good firing. You got to make sure that the next coach you hire is better. So we'll see. Maybe the Raptors, Suns, and Bucks all get new coaches that are better, but we'll have to see, because if not, they could regret firing who they fired. Jeff says, great game so far. I agree with you. And you definitely want to see a great game in Game 7. I mean, this is Game 7. This isn't any other type of game. This is the end of the line for both teams. The winner advances, the loser goes home. It always adds to the element, like March Madness does, when both teams can be eliminated. When you have like a Game 5 or a Game 6 and it's 3-1 or 3-2, one team can be eliminated and the other can't. That's cool. But when both teams can be eliminated, whoever loses out, it just adds that whole other different element, just like March Madness, because of the fact that either team loses out. It is really cool to see for sure. I think it just adds a completely new element to it, and definitely a lot more excitement for fans of both teams for sure to see what will happen. The Ohio State says, who do you think will win Lakers versus Nuggets in the Western Conference Finals? I want the Nuggets to finally make the final. Nuggets are 0-4 all time in the Western Conference Finals, and 3 of those 4 series losses have been versus the Lakers. Well, looking at it to your point, historically, it's going to be the Lakers because, like you said, the Nuggets have never made the finals, and they've lost in the Western Conference Finals 4 times all time, and 3 of those losses have been the Lakers. So using that logic, they lose again. But times are different. The Nuggets legitimately have a great team, and I know a lot of people question them. And I don't blame people for questioning them because of the fact when somebody hasn't done something, you have to prove it. You have to prove you can before people can start saying, oh, this team's going to win it all or whatever. You have to prove that you can do that. So I get why the people were skeptical of the Nuggets, but you can tell that the Nuggets have a team that's different. They've got more depth than they ever have before, and that's by design. They want to win it. And the Lakers have depth too. I mean, bringing in D'Angelo Russell, Rui Hachimura in the middle of the trade deadline season, those were big additions because the Lakers pre-trade deadline were way worse than after. And then LeBron James, Anthony Davis have gotten healthy. Both players have stayed healthy throughout the playoffs. If both players can stay healthy in the Denver series, then there's a good chance the Lakers could win. But I will say, if LeBron James or Anthony Davis, if either of them have any injury issues, and Anthony Davis has taken a brutal beating in these playoffs so far, they win. But we'll have to see. I think that if I had to say right now, I would almost lean Denver because of the fact that they've got, in my opinion, more depth. Just by a little bit over Los Angeles. But Denver, they're a really good team. But the pressure could be too much for them because the Lakers with LeBron have been in this situation so many times and, in his past that he's used to this moment. So it could really go either way. It's almost a coin flip. I would say right now I would probably lean Denver just by a little bit, but that could change immediately if the Lakers start playing really well in the series. But Denver, they've got a really great team. This could be their year. This could be their chance. But we're going to have to see. It's going to be very interesting for sure. Looking forward to that series and the Eastern Conference series as well. Ohio State says, what do you think of the Suns fire Monty Williams? He's a good coach. He's had unfortunate circumstances. Do you think he will get a job with another team? I think he will. Yeah, I don't think he really technically should have been fired. I mean, at this juncture, because unless they have a guy that they know is better, that's the only way that it's justifiable because of the fact, that you have to make sure that the next coach is better. I actually made a video on it earlier. So, I talk about it there as well on Monty Williams. I made a video on it earlier. But I do think that overall, it's just one of those situations where you've got to make sure that you're making the right move, that you have a guy in place that would be better than Monty Williams. Because if not, why fire Monty Williams? It makes absolutely no sense because to fire a coach, you're wanting to upgrade. That's why you do it. There's just no other reason why you would fire a coach otherwise. If you have to make sure the next one's better. I put the link for the video if you guys want to check it out in the chat of my video on Monty Williams. But I really appreciate you guys for being here. But it's really interesting times in the NBA right now. It really, really is. There's tons of stuff going on right now. I think that it's crazy how coaches are getting fired these days. This used to never happen. You look at Monty Williams. He was the coach of the Pelicans from 2010, back when they were the Hornets as well, the Hornets/Pelicans from 2010 to 2015. And in those 5 years, he only made the NBA playoffs twice, and they lost in the first round. The other 3 years, he missed the playoffs. And he got fired in year 5 when they made the playoffs and they lost in the first round. But then now he's with the Suns. He wins 2 NBA Coaches of the Year, goes to a finals game and loses, and he's gone. And Mike Budenholzer had a 68% winning percentage. Monty Williams, I think, had like 65. It's insane how good you can do and still get fired. It's crazy. It's one of those things where I don't think he should have been fired. I understand it the way things are going today. I had a feeling he would be since Budenholzer was fired and Nurse, but I don't think that the Suns are going to hire Budenholzer. You wouldn't flip a guy that just got fired, to hire him when you just fired your guy. I don't know if that really makes sense. We'll have to see, though. Maybe there's an assistant coach in place that could be good. I don't know. Sorgy Stories, thanks for being here. Says, hey, Jeffrey, go Sixers. Really appreciate you for being here. Sorgy Stories, appreciated your comment earlier on the Monty Williams video as well. Really appreciate it. Hopefully the Bucks get a good coach. I really hope that they do, because if not, it could be bad for Milwaukee. But I really hope that their next coach can be a fit for Milwaukee and what they want to do. But I really hope that it works out. But I really appreciate you for being here. Go Tigers. Thanks for being here, Edward. Finally got to do a Celtics game. Let's go Boston. Almost 1K. Let's go, Jeffrey. Keep up the grind. Really appreciate that, Edward. You guys are all awesome. Really appreciate for you guys all helping me get past 900. You guys are the best. Thank you so much for sure. Really appreciate it. Boston up by 3 with a great chance to be able to win this game. And I really appreciate you being here, Edward. I know you're excited, especially if Boston can win. You all say Scoot Henderson's going to be a good, if not great player in the NBA. He is a talented player. He definitely is a guy that is getting overshadowed because of Wembanyama, but he is a really talented player, and in most years would be the first pick. That's how good he is. You're right. He is a great guard. He can go off the dribble and do a lot of things for sure. You're 100% correct. Go Tigers says Tatum is cooking. For sure. He's on fire. We'll see if he can keep it up in the second half. But like you said, Scoot Henderson, he'll be a great, prize for a team that is getting the second pick. Definitely no shame in not getting Wembanyama. Definitely Scoot Henderson, Brandon Miller, some of these other guys will be great as well. Tobias Harris for 3 in the corner. He ties the game. Tatum might be cooking, definitely like Edward is saying, but you also have the 76ers cooking as well. A lot of their guys are getting more players to play well than Boston, but as long as Tatum still does well and then the other guys can start getting going, they can still win also. Horford fakes the three again in the corner to Marcus Smart with Maxey on him. Smart has the height and size advantage with a step back. What a shot by Marcus Smart over Tyrese Maxey. Boston takes the lead. 57-55, 11 to go in the third. That was a fantastic shot right there. Joel Embiid with Al Horford on Embiid off the dribble in the post, trying to kick it in the corner to Tucker. Now over to Maxey for 3, and Maxey shots off the mark, and there might have been a foul on Philly, I think, on the floor. Might have been a foul on the floor for sure right there, definitely. Like it was away from the ball. 57-55. So it's Boston Celtics ball with a 2-point lead. TD Garden Arena, a lot of fans are on their feet. 10:40 to go in the third quarter. Jaylen Brown being guarded by Tobias Harris. Tobias Harris had some nice shots and some good defensive possessions in this game. Jaylen Brown, the missed mid-range jumper, and you got the rebound right there for the Philadelphia 76ers. They're going back up the floor. James Harden, he has the basketball. James Harden kicks it to Embiid. Embiid fakes on Horford. He did it twice, trying to go up, trying to still make a play. He gets stripped by Horford and Marcus Smart. Great defense there, and they call a kickball off of Embiid. So it is Boston Celtics basketball. That's a fantastic defensive play by Marcus Smart. He is one of the best defenders in the NBA, and with great reason. What a pest he is on defense. 10-10 to go in the third quarter. Marcus Smart, top of the key. 57-55. Smart over to Tatum. Now it's back to Smart. He's being guarded by Embiid. Smart has the quickness advantage. Maybe he can blow by him. Instead, passes it over to Tatum. Now he's being guarded by Embiid. Tatum into the lane. All the way to the rim. What a play by Jason Tatum. He's got 27 points now. Again, when Tatum is locked in, he can do things like that all game long. He is a fantastic player, just did not have a great game 6 until the fourth quarter, but it was enough for Boston to be here, and they've got a great chance to win this game if Tatum keeps it up. Harden in the lane, kicks to Tucker in the corner. Tucker can't repeat the first quarter success he had from 3 in the corner. Now Tatum to Jaylen Brown, top of the key. Tobias Harris on Jaylen Brown. Now Tatum into the lane. Tatum kicking it back out again. He's in the corner. Now Tatum with Embiid on with a step back 3, and Tatum knocks it down. Tatum's got 30. Timeout Philadelphia. What can Embiid do right there? I have no idea. That was a fantastic defensive play by Embiid. He's all over Tatum. He's guarding the corner, but Tatum with the sweet crossover dribble in the corner. That is a fantastic play by Jason Tatum. That is talent. 30 points. He makes it look effortless. That's an incredible play. He's feeling it. I mean, you had a feeling, just something about the way that fourth quarter ended for Jason Tatum, and it's carrying over into this game. He's got 30 points in Boston. They lead by 7. Sorty stories. The problem in Milwaukee was that we were the number 1 seed 3 out of the last 5 years, and all 3 of those years we didn't go to the finals. That's the problem. I agree with that. I mean, it makes sense. But, I mean, the issue is that when injuries are part of the issue, on why you don't go all the way, that's when it's tough to blame the coach. Because you do look at Chris Middleton was out the 1 year, and then Giannis missed several games this year. I mean, I agree with you. You're right, Sorgi. I mean, that's why he got fired. But he still won 68% of his games, still won an NBA title with the team he had. And 2 of the years, there were injuries. to key guys, which is why it contributed to why they lost the series. So I completely understand why they fired him. This wouldn't have happened 10 years ago, though. I mean, the NBA today, I mean, it's hard to be a coach now because at any point in time, you could be fired. I mean, I don't know if Quinn Snyder was going to get fired at Utah, but he went to Atlanta. He just left Utah, went to Atlanta. So, I mean, who knows? It's insane. But I do agree, though. It's really interesting for sure. Go Tigers says in one season, don't make the finals every year. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, you guys make great points. Sorty Story said we should have been a dynasty. Look at the roster. The thing that's interesting as well, because it's a great point, Sorgy Stories, but the other thing that's really interesting is the fact that today there's so many great NBA teams, it feels like. You look at this year, you've got Denver, Boston, Philadelphia, Milwaukee, Los Angeles, Golden State. Those are all teams that people felt could win it all before the playoffs, potentially. You know, I mean, even Phoenix or the Clippers with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. All these teams, you felt had a shot to win it all. That's about 8 teams. I mean, I agree with you. Sorgy Stories, you're absolutely right that they've got the roster that they should have done better, you know, with the Bucks. But there's so many teams they have to compete with that there's no runaway. I mean, to me, Boston is the deepest team in the NBA, and they've almost lost this series twice, and they could still win the series here today. But it's hard. It is so hard to win it all right now. Go Tigers, it should have, would have, could have. The Bucks roster this year is old and the depth is average. Pat is not a great player. Grayson Allen should be a bench player. Drag is old. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where success is fleeting because you have a great team for a while and then you look at your team 3 years later and it's not what it was. I mean, that's why, you know, you look at a lot of different players in teams that have had so much success and then they age out. It makes a big difference. Your team's only good for as long as that small window that you have. Boston's in a unique position where Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum are going to be great for a long time. That's why they need to find a way to win one now to help maybe build their confidence for the future so maybe they can win one more or two in the future because you don't want to waste all that talent that they have and then they never win one. But it's crazy. I think that overall it's just so many teams are great in the league now. The NBA is just very deep. There's so many great players from Europe and America. It's just a talent pool. The NBA is a talent pool with so many great teams. Tobias Harris misses in the corner. Marcus Smart, he gets the rebound. So Boston's up by 7 and with a chance to grow the lead even further. 8:40 to go in the third. Tatum with 30 points. He's on fire. Marcus Smart playing great defense as always. Tatum at the top of the key being guarded by Tucker. That's an advantage for Tatum. Almost every player, it's an advantage for Tatum. Top of the key again. Tatum shoots another 3. Oh, man. Tatum is on fire. I don't know. He's got 33 now. Can Philly slow him down? Tatum's feeling it. There's just not much you can do when Tatum's feeling it. He's got 33 points. 65-55. Philly's down by 10, and they need a bucket in a hurry. 8 to go in the third. Harden trying to make a move over Horford, and Harden with his signature step back 3. 65-50. That's a big bucket for Philly. A much-needed bucket right there, especially with Howe. The Boston Celtics are starting to extend their lead a little bit. Tatum driving into the lane, and he's fouled with a chance to add to his points. Wow, Jason Tatum is on fire. Go Tigers says Giannis could shoot a jump shoot for his. He'd be better also. I mean, that's a good point. I mean, Giannis, a lot of his game's inside. He doesn't shoot that many threes. He's trying to get better, and he's trying to get better at the line. But I don't know if that's necessarily, you know, the biggest issue, you know, with the Bucks. It's about the rest of the roster, which is what you said earlier, Edward, as well. You talked about how the roster could be aging a bit. That could be a biggest problem. Go Tigers to the Bucks. Best bench player is Bobby. Yeah, Bobby Portis. I mean, he's a fan favorite in Milwaukee. He's a good player. He's gotten a lot better. Sorty Story said, I laughed when I saw that. My dad commented that earlier. Yeah, that's a good point. I agree. I think he definitely is the best player for sure off the bench for the Bucks. And Tatum hitting everything right now. Hits both free throws. It's 67-58. He's got 35 points, and we still have 19-plus minutes to go in the game. Tatum can end up with over 50 if he keeps this up. James Harden with the ball. Philly down by 9, and they're having to deal with an on-fire Jason Tatum. Tyrese Maxey on aforementioned Tatum. Maxey trying to make a move, but Tatum playing good defense. He pokes the ball out. Now Embiid at the top of the key. 1 second. Embiid has to chunk up a three. And again, great defense from Boston. Shot clock violation. Boston will have the ball again. The Ohio State said, do you think Ayton will be on the Suns next season? I think Ayton will be on another team. I don't know. I think it could go either way. I mean, I think that the Suns are waiting for Ayton to break out into a star, and he hasn't really done that yet, which I think is a big reason why a lot of people are thinking he's going to go, because maybe they can get some good players for him. I don't know. It's one of those things where maybe you should keep him one more year and see. I don't know. You don't want to trade him too early and then becomes a lot better. But to Edwards' point, Ayton has no – I mean, I don't know. He plays hard. I mean, I don't know. It's one of those things where, to your point, Edward, you said it best. He's in the West, and it's a lot easier in the West than it is in the East. Jaylen Brown misses a mid-range jumper. Tobias Harris, he misses a three in the corner. So Philly is down by 9 still. Boston up by 9, mostly because of Tatum. Jaylen Brown for 3, and now Brown's getting in the action. 70-58. 12-point lead for Boston, 6:41 to go in the third. Philly's not calling a timeout, but Celtics are on a 15-3 run. Boston's on fire. But yeah, the East is much tougher than the West, and that's what you're saying with Ayton, that Ayton has a lot more success because he's in the West. It's an interesting argument. Embiid's blocked by Jaylen Brown, and Jaylen Brown, he almost loses the ball, but it's off Tobias Harris. Unbelievable. This game is starting to blow open a little bit. Philadelphia, you don't want to say it's panic time. You don't want to say that you could potentially lose this game right now, but it is starting to turn. It is starting to turn. Boston up by 12. Jason Tatum for 3. Tatum hits another one. He's got 38. 73-58. Timeout, Philadelphia. Jason Tatum cannot be stopped right now. 38 points. This is a far cry from Game 6 where he couldn't hit anything. This is unbelievable. Jason Tatum off a Horford ball screen for 3. Nothing but nylon. 38 points, 73-58. Wow, it feels like a dagger shot. There's still tons of time. Game's not even nowhere near done yet, but it feels like it. Wow. Unbelievable. That is fantastic. That is a fantastic shot. Yeah, it's interesting, though, with Ayton. Like I said, the West, you say it's easier than the East. It's interesting. Sorge said the Bucks have won more number 1 seed than the rest of the NBA in the last 10 years. Yeah, I mean, Giannis, he's still got a lot of time left, so there's no need to panic on the dynasty being over, but for sure, you definitely want to win while you have them. There's so much competition in the NBA, but like you said, the fact you've won more 1 seed than the rest of the NBA, just not a great look for sure. The Ohio State says, yep, a lot of the time it looks like Ayton's just in it for the pay and doesn't have passion to play basketball. Yeah, I mean, I can't speak for anybody, but I mean, Ayton's a guy that I feel like he could have broken out more by now. That's the thing. It's just kind of one of those things where you're waiting for him to take that next step, and he hasn't done it yet. And if he's not going to, then maybe the Suns need to explore other options. It's just if you're going to trade him, you need to make sure that you get what you should get in return. Just like you trade Durant, you had to give away Bridges and all that. I mean, it's one of those things where if you trade Ayton, you got to make sure you're going to get good players around, Durant and Booker if Durant stays. Because if not, then Durant probably won't stay. The Ohio State said Tatum may just have one of those legendary Game 7 just like Curry did versus the Kings and won't let his team lose. Yeah, and you wrote that 9 minutes ago, and for sure it is looking like it. Tatum is playing ridiculously well right now. He cannot be stopped. And again, when Tatum is feeling it like this, he is one of the best players in the NBA. I mean, he finished 4th in the MVP voting. He's a great player. And sometimes he's been inconsistent, but what he's doing right now is insane. Go Tigers says that's because they have been the number 1 seed more consistently than any other team in the NBA. Last 10 outside, maybe Golden State. That's a good point as well. I mean, to lose the most number 1 seeds in the last 10 years, you have to be the most number 1 seed in the last 10 years. That's a great point. That's definitely a great point. Edward is bringing it right now. Go Tigers says the Bucks and Suns GM should be fired for those off a roster. Trading 4 second-round pick for Jay Crowder, he doesn't fit your team. Laughing out loud. Yeah, I mean, that's why I'm saying with Monty Williams and even Budenholzer, I mean, should they have been fired? Who knows? I mean, it depends on who made the trades, who wanted to make the trades. The GM, I mean, how's it the coach's fault? I have no idea. But, again, I'm not the one in there making the decisions. I have no idea. But if you're going to fire Monty Williams and Budenholzer, the one thing I do know is the next coach has got to be better, or both firings were bad firings. You got to make sure that the coaches are better than what you have. And are there anyone available right now? I have no idea. Maybe someone comes out of nowhere and surprises. We'll have to see. The Ohio State in 2020, Bucks being a 1 seed meant nothing since they didn't have true home court at all playing the ball in Florida. Bucks have had tough going to the playoffs in 2019 this year as a 1. Yeah, that's true. That's a great point via Ohio State. So one of them, they were in the bubble. So they didn't have a home court. And then the other two, Chris Middleton was hurt, and then Giannis was hurt. I mean, that's not buttonhole, but it is what it is. He got fired, so I mean, it's not no one can do about it. But I mean, maybe he shouldn't have been fired. But like I said, Budenholzer and Monty Williams are gone. But it's really interesting when you really deep dive into it. It doesn't really feel like they should have been fired. Story said Jay Cry could have been used much better in that Heat series. That's true, but definitely you have to use the players you got. You got to use everybody to your advantage. Jason Tatum with 38.7 rebounds. Marcus Smart in the corner to Al Horford. Al Horford missed a 3 there after they turned Philly over. If Horford had hit that, I would have really blown the roof off of the Boston Celtics home arena at TD Garden Arena. That would have been crazy. James Harden to DeAnthony Melton for a long 2. Melton's off the mark. Horford with the ball. All the momentum going Boston's way. 5:30 to go in the third quarter. Marcus Smart with the ball, slowing it down a little bit. No need to rush. 5:30 to go in the third. Horford to Jason Tatum. Tatum with the ball. He's already got 38 points. He's on fire. He's got the ball lurking at that three-point line. Back to Al Horford to Jaylen Brown for 3 again, and he hits another one. Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum cannot miss. 76-58, and Doc Rivers can only look on. There's nothing else he can do. Could this be the end of Doc Rivers? We have no idea if they don't win this game with the way coaches are getting fired. Boston on a 21-3 run in the last 6 minutes. Harden on the way to the rim, and there's a foul on the floor. This is insane. What basketball action for Boston. This is what is culminated all season long. This is how good Boston can be when they're on fire. And they've had some struggles in this playoff series, but they're showing how good they can be at their best. For sure. Jeff says, go Tatum, go Celtics, for sure. Jackson says, Jason Tatum is having a breakout game. I mean, he's having a great game, but he's had some big games before. A breakout game usually is when someone hasn't ever had a big game before. I agree with you. It's a breakout game in the sense that he hasn't had a big game in a while. But you're right, Jackson. He's having a great game, but he's had 50-point games before. But in a game like this, because Tatum had like 50 points in the Bucks series that they lost that year, or it might have been the Nets series, either the Nets series or the Bucks. I think it was the Bucks series. He had like 50 points, and they lost that series because there was just too many guys out, and Tatum had to do everything. But in this game, in a game 7, the way Tatum's playing, it's insane. You're absolutely right, Jackson. He's having a great game. Tatum could have got fouled on that drive, did not get the call. But 76-58, 18-point lead. 4:30 to go in the third quarter, and Philly's in a lot of trouble. And there's an over and back. Philly just turned it over again, and that's making the crowd even more electric for Boston. More turnovers for Philly. Jackson, what's up to Sorgy Story? Sorgy says, hey, I really appreciate all you guys for being here. I really do appreciate it. Go Tar said, no, he couldn't. Jay's old, lost his last. Why the Sun wanted to trade him. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why teams trade players, but I mean, it is what it is. But sometimes you make the wrong decision. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. Now Malcolm Brogdon joins the party. 79-58, and Doc Rivers has had enough. 4:30 to go in the third quarter, and Philly only has 2 timeouts left. Boston still has 5 timeouts. That shows you how good Boston's playing. They have all their timeouts left. This is insane. You can't better this performance from Boston. I mean, there's still time left, but I don't know. The way Philly is trending, Boston might have this game in hand. This is crazy. Sorgy Story says, all right, I'm going to watch the game with my dad. See you later. I really appreciate you for stopping by, Sorgy Stories. Hopefully the Bucks can hire the right coach after Budenholzer and have a lot of success, but I really do appreciate you for stopping by. It means a lot. Jackson Stories, how's it going? What's your town? The Celtics 6 so far. I think he left. But I will say overall that it has definitely been, a good series. But the way the series has gone, though, you look at Harden's 45 and then the overtime game, Philadelphia won by 1. Boston, the only game they played bad was game 5. And sometimes every team is a bad game. Boston played awful in game 5 on their own floor. But the game Harden at 45 and the overtime game that Harden hit the 3 at the end, they won by 1. Boston could have won either of those games. That's not to take anything away from Philadelphia. They've done good, and they deserve to be top 3-3 based on the results. But Boston is the deeper team, and you can just tell. And the superstar talent, and now that they're up big, now you're starting to get Brogdon making shots. It's just Boston is on fire right now. And when Boston is on fire, they're unstoppable, and they're one of the best teams in the NBA. Could be the best team in the NBA at their best. But Boston does not play like that. And then you look at Phil in this series most of the time, and you look at Philly, James Harden's got 9 points. Their team's just not doing enough. 76ers have 12 turnovers as well. Maxey, maybe he can provide a spark over to PJ Tucker, back to Maxey. 4:14 to go in the third. Tucker in the lane, and the ball is out of bounds, and it's off of the Boston Celtics. So it is Philadelphia basketball. Yeah, but I completely agree that Boston, I think, is the deeper and potentially better team than Philadelphia. But Philadelphia's done a great job in this series hanging around and had a chance to win on their own floor. But unfortunately for Philadelphia, they allowed Boston to win that game with Tatum's fourth quarter. And ever since then, it's been nightmarish in this game for Philadelphia ever since Tatum got going. Ever since Tatum got going after the half, it's been insane. Inbounds the ball for Philly. Embiid has it at the top of the key. 3 seconds left. Embiid has to chunk up a three, and he misses the shot. Melton misses, and Tatum with the board. Shot clock violation. How many shots has Embiid had at the top of the key? Boston's defense is making Embiid have to shoot threes that he doesn't want to shoot because they're having the ball in his hands at the top of the key late in the shot clock. They're just doing a great job switching. This is insane. I feel bad for Philly fans. Maybe it's not over yet. Boston's on a 24-3 run, but maybe Philadelphia has one last gasp and maybe they can get back in the game. Who knows? Hopefully for Doc Rivers, he keeps his job. I don't want Doc Rivers to get fired. Hopefully for Philly fans, they can make it interesting. Marcus Smart misses in the corner. Philadelphia back the other way. Still a 21-point lead for Boston. Still insane to say that, especially since it was a 3-point game and a half. Now you got Maxey in the corner. 3:30 to go in the third. Over in the corner. A layup for Philly is short. Great defense again from Boston. They're swarming. They're all over the place. Malcolm Brogdon on the other end being guarded by Maxey. Now Tatum with Melton on. Tatum in the lane. Tatum tries to go reverse, and there's a foul. So Tatum will have a couple free throws. 3:18 to go in the third. Coach Tires says Jaylen Brown for three. Huge block. For sure. I completely agree with you, man. It is insane. Al has been big on the defensive end, and the Celtics are just on fire. Jackson's not wrong for the sake of Doc Rivers. I think he's going to get fired. He will be on the hot seat next season. Well, regardless, either's correct, Jackson. You're 100% correct, because even if he doesn't get fired, he's going to be completely on the hot seat, and he's going to have one more year. But I don't know. The way the NBA is going with firing, it's just hard to see Doc Rivers being there. We'll have to see, though. Tatum, he splits the free throws. He missed the first, hit the second, so it's 80-58. 3:10 to go in the third. Tyrese Maxey with the ball. Now it's over to James Harden. Tatum with 39.7 rebounds. The other free throw would have put him at 40. Harden in the corner, and it's a missed three for Philadelphia. Melton with the rebound. Another open three in the corner. Philadelphia misses again. Horford with another rebound. 2:50 to go in the third. Derek White down into the game for Boston. Malcolm Brogdon tried to go reverse. He misses the layup. Now Philadelphia back the other way, down by 22, and they need points. Melton for three. He's off the mark, and I don't think this is a good strategy for Philadelphia. Timeout Boston. Joe Mazzulla uses a timeout, but if you're Philadelphia and you're down by 22, I get you want to shoot threes to get back in the game, but it probably would help if you try to drive and get fouled. I get Boston's been playing great defense, so it's kind of hard to do that. But you can just tell as of this time that Boston is just on fire on the offensive end. And they're playing great on the defensive end. And you're not making shots. And with Philadelphia, you're not making threes. So how in the world are they going to be able to come back? They're not. They're going to have to find a way to get points. And sometimes if you're not making threes, try to drive in the lane and get fouled. But I don't know. Philadelphia, they might not have it in them. We'll see. There's still over 14 minutes left in this game. We'll have to see if they have anything left in the tank. But what a performance by Boston. Hopefully, like Jackson, like you said, hopefully Doc Rivers does not get fired. And hopefully for Philly, they can make it interesting or have some success next season if they can't win this game. They had a good season. Things are kind of trending in the right direction, so we'll see. Go Tigers says another three. Tatum is cooking. There's nothing else you can say about Tatum's performance, but wow. I mean, this is incredible. And I know you're happy for sure, Edward, and all the Boston Celtics fans out there. It is awesome to watch a performance like this, especially when it is your favorite team. When it's your favorite team and they're winning, it is always fun to watch. And Boston right now is making their fans very happy. They're up by 22. It's been a long and hard-fought series. Boston, for a time, probably thought they weren't even going to win the series based on how it was going. But now they're tied 3-3 in the series. They're on their own floor. They're up by 22, and they have a great chance to win the game. Al Horford, he's only got 6 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 blocks, but he has made an impact on this game. Marcus Smart, his defense as well, has been big. Top of the key. Marcus Smart kicks to Derek White. Derek White's three is off the mark. Paul Reed, he's got the rebound. Embiid, he is out of the game. You still have Maxey and Harden in, so they're not giving up the ship yet. Harden for three, he's off the mark. And Tatum, he has the rebound. They just can't get anything to fall. Harden's three almost went in, but it rattled in and out. Just very unfortunate for Philadelphia. They just can't get anything to fall. Boston's 8 of 15 for the field in this quarter. Philadelphia's 2 of 15. Marcus Smart, top of the key, drives in the lane to Derek White in the corner, and Derek White for three. And when you're up big, it is so much easier to make shots. You're feeling it. 83-58, 1:40 to go in the third quarter. Doc Rivers can't use another timeout. Maxey driving in the lane for two. That's a good play by Maxey. 83-60, 23-point game. 1:30 to go in the third quarter. Malcolm Brogdon driving down the floor, but this is incredible by Boston. Just incredible. Brogdon all the way to the rim, and he lays it in, and Boston can't miss. 85-60. 1:20 to go in the third. Tyrese Maxey with the basketball. Takes a mid-range shot. He's off the mark. Jason Tatum with the rebound. He's going up the floor. Tatum with Melton on him. Tatum has 39 points. He's been on fire. He's been unstoppable. Tatum top of the key, dribbling between his legs. Tatum takes another three. Tatum again. 42 points. 88-60. This is insane. Jason Tatum cannot miss right now. 42 points. He's 14 of 22 from the field and 5 of 7 from three. He's missed more field goals than threes. Incredible. 45 seconds left. Maxey for three on the other, and he cannot respond. Paul Reed gets the rebound. He can't get the shot to go in, and the ball is out of bounds off of Boston. But Jason Tatum with 42 points. People question Tatum. He's inconsistent. Is he actually as good as he is? He is when he's on fire. He doesn't play like this all the time, but no player does. But this is insane from Jason Tatum. Fourth career playoff 40-point game. Tobias Harris drives into the lane, and they call a foul. So Tobias Harris will have a couple free throws. Most points in a game 7 for the Celtics in their history. Sam Jones, 47-point versus Cincinnati. Jason Tatum, 42-point versus Philly. So he's second on that list. Tobias Harris' first free throw is good, 88-61. That probably is what Philadelphia needed to do earlier in the game, drive and try to get fouled. They just kept shooting and missing threes. Unfortunately, you just can't keep doing what's not working. I get you're down, you're falling behind, you want to be able to shoot your way back into a game, but it sometimes just does not work. Tobias Harris, he hits the second free throw as well, 88-62. Under 30 seconds to go in the third. 42 points and 10 boards, a double-double for Jason Tatum. 26-point lead for Boston. It feels like the game's already over, even though there's still a whole other fourth quarter left. Tatum again, he misses this time. Oh, man, if you had to hit that was a deep three, but he deserves that heat check. Tyrese Maxey on the other end of the floor. 5 seconds left to James Harden. 4 seconds. Harden back to Maxey. Maxey into the lane. He misses the layup, and that is the end of the third quarter. 88-62. Tatum had 11 points in the first, 14 in the second, 17 in the third for a total of 42 points. Wow. The Ohio State said this is absolutely insane by Tatum. He's putting on a clinic. I mean, there's nothing else you can say. There is nothing else you can say about this performance. This is crazy. Jackson says, see you later, Sorgi. Thanks again for being here, Sorgi. Go Tire says he's looking like he did in Game 7 with the Bucks last year. He had 46 in that game. That was the game, yeah, against the Bucks. That was fantastic. You're right, Edward. It was a great game then. Tatum can play. This is not a fluke. Tatum can play. He's done this in multiple games. He is a true star. He is a fantastic basketball player. It's just for him, it's all been about consistency. He has struggled with consistency sometimes, but he is a fantastic player regardless. And I mean, what he is doing in this game is insane. Go Tire says if Ayton was in the East, he would get his lunch with the bigs in the East. Completely agree. I mean, I think that Ayton's a good player. I think he could hold his own against some bigs in the East, but not the ones like Giannis or Embiid. They're just too good. But it is what it is. Definitely interesting. Jackson said, Go Tire, do you think we'll see a Lakers Celtics NBA Finals matchup? Yeah, I mean, that could happen. I still feel like Denver could win the series. But the Lakers could get it done. I mean, they have a good team. So it could be. And that would definitely be great for the NBA. The ratings would be through the roof. Lakers, Celtics, those are NBA icons. Jeff says if Tatum continues, Boston wins. And since he wrote that, he has been continuing. So true, says Jackson. Jeff says when Boston play like this, they can beat anybody. And the thing is, they can play like this every game. I know no team's perfect and no team can play like this every game. But when Boston is locked in like this, they're unbeatable. Like this, when they're playing this good, especially when Tatum's playing this good. Go Tigers, it could be Jackson. Free the difference really helping the Lakers like past game of the Warriors 42-14. Yeah, I think part of it's because the Warriors shoot a lot of jump shots and the Lakers like to drive. I mean, the free throw discrepancy is insane. I mean, if they're doing that all against Denver, if the Lakers keep going to the line way more than Denver, they could win the series. But I feel like Denver's a team that does drive more than the Warriors, so they could still have more free throws. We'll have to see because Denver did do a good job of shooting free throws against Phoenix. But we'll see. Coach Tyler said Jaylen Brown for 3. It's been a clinic from 3. Jackson said, I hope Rob would have a feeling we'll see the Lakers sell at the NBA Finals match. I'm sure he would like Denver. Jeff says, you could be right, but I think Celtics will win. I still think the Celtics can win it all because when they're playing like this or this good, sometimes they're inconsistent. But when they're playing like this, they're the best team in the NBA, even better than Denver. But just because you're the best team doesn't mean you play like it all the time. It doesn't mean you're going to be guaranteed to win the whole thing. But they have a great chance to do that. VOI said, we're about to have the same Final Four as the 2020 bubble. It means nothing at all, but interesting. Yeah, it is interesting for sure because those were the 4 teams. It was Miami and Boston and Denver and Los Angeles. Crazy. Jack says, I just hope we see a Nuggets Heat Finals match. That would be cool. Yeah, I think the Nuggets is possible. I mean, I think even they could be favored in the series, but with the Heat beating Boston, especially the way Boston's playing right now, I would probably say that's unlikely, but still not impossible. Edward says Malcolm for 3. Insane. Jeff said that would be good too. I mean, it would be a good series. Heat Nuggets for sure, but I definitely think the Celtics would have a great chance to beat the Heat, but you never know. We've seen some crazy things in these playoffs and in March Madness, some crazy things in sports. Nothing's guaranteed. Jackson, all of us love to see that, but I don't think ESPN will, because then they'd have to know that there are other NBA teams. How the Lakers, Celtics, or Knicks. That's a good one. That's a good one, Jackson. That's funny. Jaylen Brown, his shot's off the mark, but Al Horford with the offensive rebound to Brogdon, and his shot's off. Joel Embiid with the board. Philly still has all their players in the game, so they're probably going to ride it out a few more minutes, see if they can make a bit of a comeback, but then they're probably going to take the guys out. Melton for 3. He does cut it to 23, 88-65, 11-20 to go in the fourth. Jeff says he agrees. Coach Tyson bleed green. Jackson will Tuesday night on ESPN will be the Lakers night in the Western Conference, and Wednesday night on TNT will be the Heat Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals. Well, you never want to say it's over until it's over. Philly's still playing. It's a 23-point game, but you're right, Jackson. More than likely will be that. Melton driving into the lane, and Tatum with the steal. What a play by Tatum. He's still playing defense, even though he's having the offensive game of his life. 11 to go in the fourth. Tatum in the lane, kicks to Al Horford over to Brogdon, who just missed a 3. Brogdon off the dribble to Al Horford for 2. Al had the shot, couldn't get it to fall. Brogdon misses the putback, and now you've got Embiid with the ball. Too hard and up the floor. Now in the corner to Melton for 3, and it's no good. He just cannot hit a 3 at all to save their life. They just cannot make a 3. Embiid only has 13.6 rebounds, 4-16 from the field. He just has not had a great game either. Brogdon, top of the key. Gets a ball screen from Robert Williams. He takes the 3 and he knocks it down. 91-65. 10-22 to go in the fourth. And when Brogdon's starting to hit threes, that makes Boston even deeper than they already are. Insane. 10-10 to go in the fourth. 91-65. Embiid at the top of the key to James Harden. Harden driving into the lane. He misses again. Good defense by Jaylen Brown. Now Tatum up the floor. Tatum to Brogdon with a nice reverse. What a play. And Brogdon scores again. 93-65. Another timeout by Philadelphia. They have one timeout left. And I would dare to say this game might be about over. A 28-point lead for Boston, and they show no signs of slowing down. An insane performance. The Ohio State said, I would like to see a Nuggets versus Celtics finals or Heat versus Nuggets, but I think we would get a Lakers versus Celtics finals. I think Nuggets Celtics is possible. I really do. I think it is very possible. Jackson, I agree. I'm thinking the Lakers because the NBA and ESPN have to keep the GOAT debate between LeBron and MJ going. Yeah, I mean, the Lakers have been doing a good job. But, I mean, going up against Denver is not going to be no easy feat. Denver is playing some great basketball. And I know that you look at, the way Phoenix ended the series. Phoenix really struggled. Their depth wasn't there. And you can say Denver finished the series off easily. But they still did a good job. And I think Denver still is a really good team. So it's going to be interesting. The Lakers could win that series, but we'll have to see. Go Tigers. Embiid is crumbling in Game 7, and Doc is no help. Yeah, Embiid has not had a great game. I mean, if you're going to win a Game 7, especially when a guy for the other team is going off like Tatum has, going for 42, then Embiid has to have like 25 and 15 to even come close to making up for that. But he's got like 13, 14 points, and he's only 4 of 16 from the field. That's just not going to get it done. The Ohio State, I think Lakers will get favorable call. The Lakers win the series because of Anthony Davis D, and he will contain Jokic enough. I mean, it's possible. I think it's possible. I mean, I think that overall, looking at, Jokic, he's a great offensive player even when he doesn't score. Granted, to your point, Anthony Davis can defend farther out from the rim, so he might be able to neutralize Jokic's ability to pass. But Jokic still is a great passer as is, so it's going to be interesting. I think that series definitely is a good matchup between Anthony Davis on defense to Jokic's offense, and then the rest of the players on the team. It's going to be interesting. Going to be interesting how they guard LeBron as well, whether Aaron Gordon or Michael Porter can slow him down. Go Tigers says Tatum is him. Yeah, he is the guy right now for sure. The Ohio State says, yep, go Tigers. I guess more than one person can be him. We know Austin Rivers laughing on. I guess Tatum is Austin. That's funny. The Ohio State, that's a good one. That's funny. Jeff said the Celtics are killing it. I completely agree. They're on fire. Go Tigers says Austin Rivers. Yeah, Austin Rivers is solid at Duke. He hasn't had the best NBA career, but hey, still in the NBA. That's all that matters. He's still living his dream. But I think that's funny. Comparing Tatum and Austin Rivers. That's funny. The Ohio State says Doc Rivers teams have blown 3-2 leads in the 2010 finals, the 3-2 lead in the 2012 Eastern Conference final, a 3-1 lead in the 2015 Western second round, and a 3-1 lead in the 2020 West second round again, and a 3-2 lead in the 2021 East second round, and a 3-2 lead again. That's a lot of blown leads. You're right, the Ohio State. That's a lot of blown leads. The Ohio State also has 6 series lead after winning 3 games, and a series has been blown by Doc Rivers teams in the last 13 years. That is mind-boggling and insane. Yeah, I mean, a lot of times players have to be held accountable as well, but some of those teams he had were awesome, and they still fell apart. So I don't know. I mean, something's not there. It could be a lot of bad luck, or it's just something's not there. Because, I mean, Embiid is not having the game he normally does. And Tatum's going off. Maybe it's just a bit of bad luck, but I do agree with you. Something's not there. It's just very interesting. Go Tiger says, here's a fun stat. Lakers had 160 free throws to 80 versus the Warriors, and Austin Reeves is averaging. Yeah, it's funny. You're still talking about Austin Reeves. Yeah, I think that to your point, the Lakers have that many free throws versus the Nuggets, and the Nuggets only have that many like the Warriors. They could win the series. Maxey misses a 3, but I think there might be a foul. I don't know if they called a foul on the 3 of Maxey or if there was a foul down low. I'm not 100% sure. But, yeah, I think that to your point with the free throws, I mean, the Lakers have definitely been to the line a lot more than the Warriors. And that's why a big reason why they won the series. I'm not saying that it had anything to do with anything else, but we're aggressive. And you have to be aggressive in playoffs, in playoff games. So I think that if the Lakers are still as aggressive as the Nuggets and the Nuggets can't match that, they could lose the Nuggets. So it's going to be interesting. The 76ers have 36 points in the second half. The Celtics have 70. Boston's insane. Since like the 3-minute mark in that second quarter, they've been on a roll. Tatum with 42 points. His stat line is insane. 9:47 to go in the fourth. Joe Mazzulla is bringing his players back to the huddle. Not sure what they're trying to review. It's 93-65. I don't know if potentially maybe it's about Maxey landing on his 3. They'll probably show it. Joe Mazzulla is also the youngest head coach in NBA this season. He's 34 years old, and he's definitely put in a great situation. He's got a great roster and a great team, and the Celtics have had a lot of success this season. They almost blew the series, but they didn't, and they have a great chance to be able to advance in this game. They're up huge right now. So let's see. Yeah, I think they're looking at potentially Maxey and Derek White. Derek White allow him to land. That could be what they're looking at. I don't think it's a foul. I didn't really think it was that much, but they're going to call. I think they're going to call it a technical. Yeah, they did. Maxey's going on the line for 3. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, you want to give the player space. I totally get that. And you want to make sure that he's able to land where he's not going to get hurt. But I don't think it was that bad either. But it is what it is. Maxey's at the line. Will definitely help out Philadelphia. Be able to cut the lead a little bit. 93-67. Maxey, he hits all 3. It's now 93-68. Don't know if it will be nowhere near enough if Philly needs to come back, but that could be a bit of a momentum booster for Philadelphia. Maxey having all those free throws. 93-68, 25-point lead for Boston, but regardless, Boston's been insane. But you got to close out the final 9:47. The game is not over until it is over. Game's finally back to resuming after all of that. Maxey driving into the lane. Thought about the 3, kicks to Embiid. Embiid drives and Embiid scores. 23-point game. 93-70. Boston's not going to call timeout just yet. Still, they're up by a lot, so no need to worry there. Embiid with 50.6 rebounds. If you're Boston, you just want to keep on scoring. You don't want to allow Philly to get back in the game. Tatum with the basketball. At the top of the key being guarded by Tobias Harris. Tatum's won that matchup and every matchup in this game. Tatum to the rim. 44 points for Tatum. 95-70. 9-10 to go in the fourth quarter. Tatum has been unstoppable. 44 points, 11 rebounds, 15-25 on the field, 9-12 at the line. Now Maxey on the other end. Nice play. It looked like by Maxey. It looked like, yeah, they gave him the shot. It looked like it was going to go in, but it was blocked, so it's a goaltend. That's a good play by Maxey, 95-72. But Tatum has been the real deal today. He's been unstoppable, and he's definitely leading his Celtics squad to victory. 9 to go in the fourth, and the Celtics challenged the block. The Celtics are up by 25 points, and they're challenging the block. Was that a goaltend? The ball was going up. I don't think it was. I think that's a good challenge. That's a very good challenge by Joe Mazzulla right there because the ball was still going up, and it did not hit the glass. That's not a goaltend. They're going to reverse that after the timeout. Go Tigers is 0.86 fouls per drive. Definitely was a lot of fouls in that series. Like you said, if the Lakers shoot that many free throws again against the Nuggets, they can win that series. And they can win the whole thing, but we'll have to see. The Warriors definitely fouled a lot, and you also look at the Warriors as well. They did not drive the ball themselves. They were shooting a lot of threes to try to win the game. And when the more threes you shoot, the less free throw opportunities you get, which is crazy. Go Tigers says, which is the most in NBA history by 0.50. I know a lot of people are definitely saying that's suspicious, but definitely nothing we can do about it. But you're just going to have to guard the Lakers well if you don't want them to go to the line. They're an aggressive team. They want to get to the line. They want those refs to call those fouls. So if you are Denver, just do not do what the Warriors did. Look at the tape. Try not to foul. But it is crazy for sure they've been to the line that much. But there's 9 to go in the fourth quarter in this game. It's 95-72. Boston's up by 23 points. And Boston has done a fantastic job since the half of just taking complete control of this game. And that's been a big reason behind Jason Tatum's performance of why the Boston Celtics are winning. His 44 points have been incredible, and his teammates have definitely done enough to help him out, whether it's Jaylen Brown, the points he scored, or whether it's Al Horford, his defense and the few shots he's made, or even Marcus Smart's defense. They've done enough. And they've defended Philadelphia at a high level. Yes, Philadelphia has struggled on the offensive end, but you still feel like Boston has played a big role. And while Philadelphia only has 72 points and probably 70 after they reverse this goaltend, that was not a goaltend. Philadelphia's really strong on the offensive end. They struggled in Game 6. They only scored 86 points. Boston scored 95. That's why Boston won. Boston in the last 2 games has been locked in on defense, and they've done enough on the offensive end. Whereas with Philadelphia, they've tried to guard Boston. I actually feel like they did a pretty solid job against Boston in Game 6 until Tatum went off in the fourth, and that's just carried over to this game. And once Tatum got going, Philly fell behind, and then it was just kind of like over from there. Jeff says Boston's killing it for sure, and Embiid looks tired. Now, I completely agree with you there. Embiid is definitely looking tired. I agree. I mean, you have to play hard in Game 7. That's one of those things where even if you're exhausted, you got to play hard. I feel like Embiid has played hard. He's had some blocks. He's tried, but he's just not made shots. A lot of shots he normally makes, he's not making. I agree that he does look tired, and it is what it is. But, I mean, these Game 7s don't come very often. You got to win. But Boston, got to give him credit for sticking it out, especially with Oliver Robert Williams. They've been giving Embiid a tough time, and the rest of the roster has done a great job as well. So we'll have to see, did they call the goaltend or not? They're also showing Curry with 50 points in a Game 7 already against the Kings and Tatum with 44. It's crazy. Did they give him the goaltend or not? I think that they're going to allow the 76ers to keep the points. It wasn't a goaltend, but they kept it. So they just didn't reverse it, but it definitely was not a goaltend. So bad call there, but the refs probably just keeping it because it was kind of too close to overturn, I guess, but it wasn't a goaltend. But Tatum on the other makes up for it. He's got 46 points, 11 rebounds, 5 assists. Insane by Tatum, 97-72. And I feel really bad for Doc Rivers right now. Tobias Harris landed, and that's a good play by Harris. Still playing hard. Love to see it, 97-74. But hopefully for Doc Rivers, he won't get fired. Hopefully he'll be able to keep his job. Hurts for Philly fans. They were really hoping they can make their first conference final since 2001, but definitely Philadelphia just did not get it done in this game. Only with 7 field goals made in the second half to Boston's 15. Now they fouled Jason Tatum on that drive. 8:08 to go in the fourth quarter. It's 97-74. Tatum will have a couple of free throws right here to potentially add to his total. When you're up big, it's always easier to hit free throws when you're winning. Tatum's first free throw is good. 98-74. He's got 47 points. Game 7 history. They're showing all the times Boston and Philadelphia have played, and Boston has won 7 out of the 9 times that they've played. And now it's going to be 8 of the 10 because Boston's going to win this game more than likely. 99-74. Tatum with 48 points. 8 to go in the fourth. DeAnthony Melton, he's got the basketball right now, kicks it over to Embiid, back to James Harden. James Harden with the basketball being guarded by Malcolm Brogdon. Now it's over to Tobias Harris. Tobias Harris is driving in the lane with a 2. His shot is good. 99-76, 23-point game. Philly's still trying, but they just cannot consistently make buckets right now. 7:30 to go in the fourth. Marcus Smart into the lane. Boston is up by 23 points, and you just feel like they only need a couple more buckets, and the game's already out of reach. Marcus Smart kicks to Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum for 3 again. He scores again. 51 points, and he passes Curry in the Game 7 record for most points. 51 points by Jason Tatum. Unbelievable. And now Embiid and Tatum are locked up down low. Don't know what happened there, but Jason Tatum with 51 points. That is insane. Look at that shot. I mean, Embiid with a hand in his face, there's nothing you can do. Tatum just scores over him. 51 points for Jason Tatum. An unbelievable performance. Melton outside to Harris. He misses the 3. Embiid tries to get the board. He does. Kicks to Tobias Harris again. He misses again. Al Horford with the rebound. 6:50 to go in the fourth quarter. Jaylen Brown down the floor, and there's another turnover. Tyrese Maxey steals it. Brown was trying to kick it to Horford down low for the layup. Did not happen. And now you've got DeAnthony Melton driving, and it looked like he might have got fouled. He was looking for it, did not get the call. Malcolm Brogdon for 3. His shot's off the mark. And Joel Embiid has the rebound. He's racked up a lot of rebounds, but just has not been able to score at a high level. 6:30 to go in the fourth. James Harden at the top of the key. You wonder how much longer Harden, Embiid, and Maxey will be in the game. Embiid misses a 3. It's short. He just does look fatigued. Way too tired right there. 6:20 to go in the fourth. Malcolm Brogdon is bringing the basketball down the floor. Boston up by 26 points. What a performance from Boston. They've dominated from wire to wire in the second half. Ever since Tatum got on fire, they took the lead, and they've been rolling from here the rest of the game. Tatum for three again. He can't hit that one. Marcus Smart tips to Horford. Back to Brogdon. 5:50 to go in the fourth. Brogdon off the dribble into the lane. Goes up strong, lays it in. 104-76. And again, ever since that flagrant foul on Harden, the tide has turned. Philly was leading by 9, 35-26. And ever since that, Boston just dominated. Harden down low to Melton. What a block from Marcus Smart from behind. 5:30 to go in the fourth, and Boston still playing great defense despite being up by this much. Insane. 5:20 to go in the fourth. Jaylen Brown being hounded by Melton. Oh, I think he might have turned it over, lost the ball out of bounds, so it will be Philly basketball, 5:25 to go. The Ohio State Celtics to be careful now to avoid any silly injuries. If Lee stays in the next 3 or 4 minutes, then you got to take the starters out. I agree with you. Don't want them getting hurt. Tobias Harris, he scores the 2. Go Tigers, that's a clean block. I agree, but unfortunately they didn't give it to him. Go Tigers. I was saying Austin Reeves averaging 0.86 fouls per drive. Oh, okay. That's the most NBA has more than MJ, LeBron, Kobe, Matt. It's a bit odd. I guess Austin Reeves is him. Well, I mean, he's probably averaging that many fouls per drive because he's not in the game that much. And when he does play, I mean, it's a joke for sure. I mean, it's hilarious. That's a good stat to point out. That's funny, Edward. But, yeah, I mean, you think about MJ, LeBron, Kobe, Matt, the amount of times that they're in the game, the amount of drives that they have, that it lowers the number. Austin Reeves probably because of the fact that he's not in very often. When he does drive, he gets fouled a lot of times in garbage time. So it's interesting. Go Tigers says 48 points. That's the record now with 51. It's crazy. Tatum's been unbelievable. 4:55 to go in the fourth quarter. Jason Tatum with 51-point NBA Game 7 record, 17-28 from the field. Jaylen Brown, he's at the line. His first free throw is good. 105-78. It's been a dominating performance. The Ohio State says, I do feel a lot for 76er fan players and their coaching staff. They have heard so much about they're not being able to break through past round 2 in the playoffs and have to hear for another year. Yeah, it stinks for sure. The Ohio State also says Knicks, 76er, unfortunately, both failed in the drought of the game past round 2. Knicks still haven't gotten past round 2 since 2000. 76ers haven't got past round 2 since 01. And both are storied organizations, franchise in the NBA, and it's unfortunate neither team's advanced in that long. 76ers had a good shot. They should have won Game 6 because they had that shot there, but they couldn't get it done. And Boston's dominated this game. 106-78 after Brown's 2 free. The Philly misses. 4:30 to go in the fourth. But still, I think Philadelphia has potentially a bright future. They can keep the team together, maybe get another piece or two, but will it be with or without Doc Rivers? That is the question. Brogdon misses, and then Horford misses the tap back. 4:20 to go in the fourth. Tobias Harris over to Tyrese Maxey, 4-3. His shot's off the mark, and Philly's cold, and they just keep chunking up threes, and they can't make them. Sergio Mendoza, thanks for being here. Says, hey, only talk sports. You think Embiid deserves your MVP? Because Jokic, in my opinion, seemed to play better winning basketball as individual stats, whereas MVP deserving. Yeah, I think you can make an argument for Jokic. I kind of feel like since Jokic won it twice and Giannis won one, that's why Embiid won it this time. And he led the NBA in scoring this year. Boston for 2 again. 108-78. 3:52 to go in the fourth. Jaylen Brown scores. He's got 23 points himself alongside Tatum's 51. And I think there might be a timeout on the floor. But yeah, I think that you can make an argument for Jokic because of the passing. I mean, he's a triple-double machine. Jokic is basically the new Russell Westbrook. Obviously different players. But Westbrook, led the NBA in triple-doubles for a long time. Well, now it's Jokic. And Jokic can pass. He can rebound. He can shoot with Embiid. Like I said, the other two, Giannis and Jokic, have won the MVP already. I think Embiid just being dominant this year was his year. But you could make an argument that Jokic could win it again. I would have been okay with either. Go Tigers. Edward says, yes, Embiid was the most dominant player in the regular season. So Edward agrees. I mean, the stats were there. I mean, the points. He averaged the most points in the NBA this season. He had a great year. He stayed healthy for the most part this season. So I completely get it. Jokic could have won it, though. Because, I mean, what Jokic does, like I said, besides scoring, is what makes him so special. The passing, the rebounding, what he does, getting the ball to his teammates. That's why Denver's so tough to beat. Because they just have so many guys that can score. It makes it so tough to stop. But I think either Embiid or Jokic were the front runners. And I'm okay with Embiid. But it could have gone either way. They're showing Embiid, though, only with 15 points and 8 rebounds, and James Harden with 9 points and 6 rebounds. See, that you're just not going to be able to combat 51 points from Tatum with 15 and 9 from your two stars. That's just not going to get it done. It's unfortunate for Philly. I hate it for Philly fans. I hope Doc Rivers keep his job, and I hope Philly can have success in the future. But this was a tough way to go out, just like Phoenix did, and Memphis to the Lakers. A lot of blowouts in these elimination games. We've seen a lot of them. Jaylen Brown, top of the key, almost loses the basketball. He keeps it, 3:25 to go in the fourth. Now it's over to Tatum, top of the key, and now there's a foul. Looks like a foul on Springer, foul on Jaylen Brown. It's always funny, again, when you got a game that's over like this one. It's 108-78, and then you got a foul at the end. Toward the end of the game, it's like you don't need the foul. The Ohio State, I just can't see Rivers keeping this position after this blowout loss. If it were a close loss, I think he would have had a chance. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, you can make an argument that if it was like a 5-point loss, I mean, it would be different. But losing like this, I mean, there's a good chance Doc Rivers is there, especially with what we've seen from Budenholzer and what we've seen from Monty Williams and Nick Nurse. The way the coaches are getting fired now, it just doesn't feel good at all for Doc Rivers. Hopefully he won't, but it's not looking that good. 108-78, Phillies down by 30. Phillies driving the lane. They lay it in off the glass. That's a good play. 108-80, 28-point game. Under 3 to go in the fourth. Embiid, you can definitely tell, is upset. Stinks for Embiid for sure. He played hard all season, but just a bad way to go out. Last Eastern Conference Finals appearance, 0-1 for 76, a 22-year drought. That's unfortunate, but I think they'll get there eventually again, whether it's with or without Doc Rivers. Philadelphia driving into the lane, another dunk. 108-82, Sergio Mendoza, that game 6 in the fourth quarter with 2 minutes left. Remind me why Doc Rivers isn't really a great coach. Yeah, it's great. It's crazy. Jeff says Boston was awesome today. I mean, unbelievable. They look like the best team in the NBA today. I know I said that with Denver the other night where they played against Phoenix, but I think Boston and Denver are playing some of the best basketball any team in the NBA. The Lakers aren't far behind. And Miami, they've been great in their own right, but it's going to be interesting to see which teams make the finals. It's going to be very interesting for sure. Might try to make my prediction video coming up soon on the NBA. In the finals, who I predict to advance to the finals should hopefully come out this week. But it should be a lot of fun. I really appreciate you guys for being here today. This was a fantastic game in the first half. The second half, if you're a Boston fan, it was fantastic. If you're a Philly fan, not so much, but still a great game nonetheless. But Jeff is right. Boston was awesome. Sergio says also Jason Tatum star pat in the fourth for a bit. Yeah, he was elite. But yeah, a couple of those buckets. Just got to add to those points for sure. But definitely when you can make them, just keep on taking the shots. Cannot blame them at all one bit. Philly with the ball down by 28. 150 to go in the fourth. The Ohio State says, I think the Celtics will beat the Heat in 5 or 6 games. If Boston plays like this, they can do that. I think they definitely can. The Ohio State said this series will lock selling so much the rest of the way. It's very interesting to see if Boston can win it all this year. Champagny for 2, 112-82, but I think that Boston can win it all this year. They have the team. They faltered a bit against Philly, but they have the team to get it done. Paul Reed driving into the lane, going up strong, and there is a foul. Again, one of those late game fouls that's not needed, but still, you got to give credit to the bench guys coming into the game, and they want to play at a high level. You just can't blame them. It's always, their time to shine, even if it's for a couple minutes, and you want to play hard. So fouling is definitely a sign of playing hard at times. Could also be bad defense, but it could be playing hard. Philly hits the first free throw, so it's 112-83. 131 to go in the fourth quarter. Paul Reed hits the first. If he hits another one, it could cut down the deficit to 28 points, cut the lead down for Boston. But yes, Boston is dominating from wire to wire, and this could be it for Doc Rivers unless Philly decides to keep him. We'll find out in the coming days. 120 to go in the fourth, but Jason Tatum with the NBA record of 51 points. Unbelievable what he's done. Unbelievable what Boston did in this game. A team effort, even though Tatum led the way by far. Sam Hauser kicks to Champagny in the corner, off the mark. Cornette taps it back out to Hauser. Peyton Pritchard's in the game. You think about Boston, Grant Williams and Peyton Pritchard didn't even play in the game, or Sam Hauser. That's how much depth Boston has. 107 to go in the fourth quarter. Might have been a foul on the floor, but I think there's no bonus yet. There's no shot. They're trying to clean up the floor as well. The Ohio State says, who would have thought at the beginning of this game that this game would be more of a blowout than Nugget for the Suns on Thursday? That's a great point. I wouldn't have thought so. I thought it was going to be going down the wire. I think I said that in the first quarter. I thought it would go down the wire, potentially whoever had the ball last. But Boston really blew it open once Tatum got going. Great performance by Boston. 55 seconds left in the game. Pritchard loses the basketball. Philly down the floor, and Philly lays it in. 49 seconds left. Boston inbounds the basketball. They're up by 26. Just a couple more possessions. Potentially have a couple more shots. They're dribbling out, and this game will be over, and Boston will be facing the Miami Heat in the Eastern Conference Finals, and Philly's drought will continue. They've not made the Eastern Conference Finals since 2001. Very unfortunate there. Go Tigers says, let's go. Really happy for you, Edward, and all the Celtics fans out there, but I really hate it for Philly fans. They were really wanting Philly to be able to make it for the first time since 2001 in the Eastern Conference Finals, and they just could not get it done. It's unfortunate. Philly, they had a good season, though. You should not overlook that. Had a really good season, but they did not have a good game at all whatsoever. Go Tigers says Tatum had a 51-point game 7 for the record books. It was insane. 112-88, and that is your final score. Philly scored again in garbage time. Does not matter. It's window dressing, padding the stats, but Boston is the victor today. They struggled at times in this series, but Philly with Harden's 45 and the overtime game, they were hanging around. But the Boston Celtics found a way to win the series after being down 3-2. Doc Rivers, unfortunately, failed to win a series when he was up 3-2. Yet again, a lot of people question, will he still be the head coach of the Philadelphia 76ers? A lot of people don't think that he will, but it's going to be interesting there. Hopefully, for his sake, he will be, but we'll have to see. The Ohio State will get a rematch of last year's Eastern Conference Finals again. And that was a great series last year. Should be a great series again. Still feel like maybe Boston is the advantage, but who knows? We'll have to see. My predictions for the NBA Conference Finals will be coming up really soon. Cannot wait to do that. But I really appreciate you guys for being here. Ohio State Final Four set. Great stream as always. Should be a great rest of the playoffs. I'm looking forward to now all these games matter the most now. We're down to the Final Four teams, Denver and Los Angeles, Boston and Miami. Should be a lot of fun, but I really appreciate you guys for being here. Like the stream down below. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Share the stream out on social media, but I really appreciate you guys' support so much. You guys are awesome. You guys are the reason. Makes it so much worth doing. I appreciate it so much. Happy Mother's Day as well to all the moms out there. Really appreciate it, but what a win for Boston. Very fortunate for Philly fans, Miami in the Eastern Conference Finals, but what a win. 112-88. Boston was incredible. What a win for the Boston Celtics, and I cannot wait for the rest of the 2023 NBA playoffs to be back to live stream some more soon. Had a lot of fun. You guys are awesome. What a game. What a win for the Boston Celtics, 112-88, and they move on to the Eastern Conference Finals with a big Game 7 win and an NBA record for Tatum with 51 points. What a win for Boston. Thanks for